Well, such a lot to say after coming from the Chris Howard stream talking about forgiveness. I think it's one of his best streams. That was my second stream today. My first stream was jumping on Olson's stream, and Olson was talking to Brett about. Let me think. He was. They were talking about. Oh, I've forgotten, but I remember getting quite worked up about what they were saying. Um, oh yes, it was about love and um, love, and communication, and the whole purpose. Great, who's?
Hello,
Hello,
welcome,
John.
welcome. Hello. I should
You
be
think it's
welcoming
your show? You
myself.
think it's your stream? You haven't invited me yet.
No, 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 no. Again, I'm just gonna check. Okay, cool. Thank you. And you titled it "Talking to Sonata." Again, some other people might show up. Actually,
Good, good,
good,
and we'll have
good.
fun.
And then you'll have to rename it, of course. But I thought it was an interesting move on your part to tag a bunch of channels that we discussed.
Yes, we're obviously, trying to say something. We're working out what we, what each other's message is, and I feel that,
Yes.
after two extended conversations with you, I am getting a better idea
So
about
am
what
I of you.
motivates you,
Yeah.
and it's been very constructive. And well, I've enjoyed it anyway.
I've enjoyed it immensely.
And it's nice to not be rushed and not be endlessly interrupted by, well,
Oh.
trivial interjections. And this is what kind
Yes,
of
indeed.
drives
I
me
know what you're talking
crazy.
about there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Okay. And were you saying something about the Chris Howard stream we were just on?
Yes, I hope you will go back over it because I thought it was quite an interesting stream, um, both political, religious, and moral about, the nature and purpose of forgiveness and um, what to do if you see Hitler in heaven.
That's a topic close to me. I mean, given some of the things I've said. Uh, by the way, I did only show up for the end. I showed up when I jumped in because I was actually having a gaming night with the boys. Not a huge ridiculous one, obviously, but yeah, that was
Mhm.
fun. And I saw a Christmas stream. I'm like, okay, I'm checking it out. Maybe it's still going, and he was.
Mhm. And then you saw
Yeah.
this crowd, and you thought, "I've got to join because I'm, you know."
Oh, wonderful! We have in the private chat. There you go again, bitching about interrupted. You two are the biggest culprits. I mean, who is this guy?
I don't know.
T.
It's
Is he
Teo. It's
in the
Teo.
back room? Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Teo, I'm sorry, you got to join now.
Yes, he has to. So he was on a Chris Howard stream, um,
Hmm.
and you know him anyway, right? From
I
Bridges
do,
of Meaning.
I
Um,
do.
so tell us your history with each other.
Well, I feel that is most appropriate once he has joined. He can also lurk in like the public chat or whatever he likes, but uh, yeah, he's more
They
catty
don't
in
like
private
you.
than
They
when other.
don't
Yeah.
like
Oh
you.
my goodness.
Those Christians, they don't like you, do they?
Well, Teo tries to be nice to me, but also he loses his patience like Tunji does and other ones.
Well, I think I've just sort of worked out. Okay, I was beginning to talk about the first stream I was on, which was Brett's stream, and he no, sorry, it wasn't. It was actually Olson's first live stream, and Brett was there. And obviously they were talking about people we know and being on the Chris Howard stream and stuff, and of course Tunji, and I thought Tunji was very depressed, and
Hmm.
Okay, maybe maybe there's a kind of mother hen in me, like Tunji wants to cut straight to the chase, and he doesn't want chit chat,
So
about
Teo is saying that
where
he'll
it
join
comes
when you
from.
let him on. So
Oh,
he's
yes,
ready to
yes,
go.
okay, okay. I wasn't paying attention.
That's okay.
Okay. Hello, Teo.
Yo, yo, yo. How did you think I was
Yeah.
able to message in a private chat? I was backstage, obviously.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I look, it's hard running a stream. That's why I don't want to run the stream. I want to let someone else do it.
But yeah, this is similar to yesterday. Sorry, Claire, I know you were on a run. I do want you to get back to the Breton stream. But similar to yesterday, when I clicked on to watch YouTube, the first 2 minutes was just you bitching about the people that were just gracious and hospitable to you on the previous stream. But this time, Claire said it was the best stream, except for the interruptions, which was so yeah, that's my rant out of the
Well,
way.
I did actually leave a compliment on Chris's stream. I do understand he has places to go to. I mean, and before he was actually going to work. So, well done, Chris, for getting up early and being so hospitable. But I was just
Yes.
explaining to Josh here that they can't do the long form extended conversations, and also because Chris is so hospitable, he will let everyone anyone join, and be nice to everyone with their chit chat, which drives me crazy. But I think Josh and I agree on this matter. We just want to go straight to
Yeah, to an extent.
Mhm.
I mean, Claire, I love you, and you're willing to boot people if you're not happy. So that's the difference between you and Chris.
uh, yes. I mean, I just
So
I
many
couldn't
people
stand
wish
it
Chris would
anymore
boot.
with Dot.
So many people wish Chris would boot both of you, but
Oh, really? Okay, let's get into it then, Teo.
what you want to
How
get
many
into?
people want to boot? How many people want us booted? Give us a number.
I don't have a tally on my wall, so
Well, I think they've grown to
Okay.
accept us after a while, and
Yeah.
I think Chris is kind of curious. It's like, who's going to come next? And my God, these weirdos, invading my stream and take, but then I could just sit back and listen and be entertained, you
Okay.
know. So,
So Teo, this is some of the most aggressive I've ever seen you, frankly. But I want to see where it goes
what right now
right now
or on the previous stream?
about anything and everything.
What other time have you seen me aggressive that you're comparing
That's
it
what
to?
I'm saying. This is the most aggressive I can remember you being.
What makes you say that?
Well, you're coming in pretty hard about scolding me and Claire.
you're waiting for your lecture, Teo.
Golden.
Yeah.
No. I'm just.
Scolding.
Am I wrong?
Oh,
Am I wrong to say that you guys were complaining about interruptions?
I'm a bit more gentle about it than Claire. I will assert that. Is that fair, Claire?
I would
Yes,
say
you're,
that's
you're,
very
you're
fair.
much more polite and kinder, and really. There was somebody saying that you that Dot was an AI creature you created to
Yeah, they
accompany
were
you, like a
talking
pet
like
dog or
absolute
something.
junk in the live chat. I just couldn't stand it myself.
Yeah.
I would have booted that viewer, honestly.
No, it's like, what's he going to say next? But I know who he
I
is.
know.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Okay,
so
so I wasn't wrong. You were. So I was correctly saying what I was saying. Nothing
Okay,
else.
go on.
Eh,
Go on.
That's it. You both
You
just
were
admitted
rightfully saying what?
that you were both complaining about interruptions, even though you're both the two of the biggest culprits.
Yes, this is why I try to have self-awareness about it, Taya.
Okay, yeah, I know you do, but
Yeah.
exactly, which is why I don't see how you're taking it as on the side
You
of
know,
the.
one of the funny things, Teo, is that you would discover how many times Claire and I tripped each other up trying to give each other room to speak, but that was when we were one-on-one. Okay, in those long streams that you declined to
So
continue
it
with.
sounds like you would both prefer one-on-one conversations, but
Sometimes, yeah.
both jump onto other people's live streams that are open,
That's
only
also
to
an interesting thing
then
to do.
complain about it. Like, why not just start by Claire opening a stream and you two starting a show together and doing that and talking at each other for as long as you like?
well,
That's what we've been
Teo,
doing.
Yeah, then why
Tell,
come on to the Chris Howard show and then complain about it afterwards?
Well, right now you're talking over Claire now, Taya. So let her speak.
I was saying I do try to behave well, and I always try to talk about what the streamer was talking about. I don't just sort of, invade the stream and talk about, change the subject completely to what I want. So Chris was reading this AA thing about forgiveness. So we did discuss. I think I helped Chris and everybody stay on the subject of forgiveness, which was a big subject, and it took up the whole stream. And
I
that
would
was what made it such a good stream. That it actually, stayed on topic for an hour.
Mm.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's that you are good at helping to stay on topic when it's a topic that you're interested in. Now, if it's a topic that you're not interested in, you're also very good at moving the topic into a topic you're much more interested in, usually politics, usually by complaining about the lack of people talking about politics. So I've seen you do both, but yeah, in this case, you were doing the latter rather than
Well,
the former.
well, I mean, I do make a point on Chris's stream to make sure that people are discussing something already, and then I make my contribution to the subject. Um, I mean, I get nervous of people like Nathaniel, who kind of followed me into Chris's stream, and he's just going to talk about his Catholicism and whatnot, and I know it's not welcome and it is often resented,
Who's
but.
Nathaniel? I have no knowledge of this person.
Well, I know I met him through E. Michael Jones, and so he's a Protestant converted to Catholicism, and he's always trying to out Catholic everybody else by going on about Catholicism. So that's his stick.
Why is that bothersome to you?
Well, because it seems um, so he goes on about usury, and my thing is, well, if you want to ban it, you'll have to use Sharia. What else are you going to do? How else can you ban it? And he doesn't get it, and E. Michael Jones doesn't get it either. And I discovered that E. Michael Jones doesn't even want to ban usury; he just wants to tax it. So I don't know.
So what bothers them is they don't E. Michael Jones don't share your exact recommendations for what to do about usury.
Well, because they're still into their Catholicism, and I think Christianity is going to be weaponized because the CIA have got themselves an American Pope, and
Can
they want
I
an
can I
American Catholic Church.
can I
Okay.
jump in here?
Hmm.
So getting into the CIA and the Pope, it might be interesting, but it's also I feel there's a more general point to work on here. So Christians in general, not all, and exceptions, and yeah, it's fine. Christians, the dissident right often strikes me this way, and perhaps Claire, you as an individual, struggle mightily with compromise and getting anything less than their specific idea of what should be done. Does that make sense to either of you?
Well,
That's
yeah.
for anyone. People struggle with compromises. People would rather
Yes.
if their way. True.
Yeah.
Christians, Claire, you, me, Muslims.
Sure.
What's the point?
My point is that perhaps in the context of forgiveness, we need to get down to the practicalities of forgiveness, not just the spiritual stuff and all that. Sometimes compromise is a good ingredient in the process of forgiveness, as well as in the processes of politics.
And what's the compromise in the process of forgiveness that Christians are not willing to?
Well, they're not willing to. Well, many are not willing to dial back the presumption issue, and when I point it out to them, they usually double down.
You're gonna have to say more, and you know you're gonna have to say more. So do say more.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I'm accused of talking too much, so I will say more. Thank you. Um, so the presumptions that Christians have are often very aggressive. They can be condescending. They can be I'll in the next life, in this life, because of God's will, because of my own cleverness, and sometimes it is the last one. You'll be proved wrong in the end. Ha ha. And the laugh is usually silent. and I'll be proven right. And then you will come to me, and you will come to Jesus and God too, I suppose, if that's as important to them as they really think, as I really think that it always is. Anyway,
Hold on, let me
do you
just
see what I'm getting at here with regard to the Christians? Now, I could also talk about the problems of the dissident
let,
right.
let me just check in to make sure I'm following what you're saying so far.
Yeah.
So what's the Christians are uh presumptive about regarding to forgiveness is that they are correct in,
Presumptuous in their dealings with others. Let's put it that way.
but this is about forgiveness.
It is about forgiveness.
Okay, so
And presumptuousness with regard to your dealings with others, I'm not going to call it a sin because I'm fairly tired of that concept, but I am going to call it a mistake.
but what when you went on to elaborate about what is they're presuming that their worldview is correct.
Yes.
That's the presumption.
I mean, in essence, yes.
But you're presuming your worldview is correct.
So we have a clash. Or actually, Teo, to be more fair to me, I'm not always presuming my worldview is correct. I'm
Because
often beginning conversations and they assume, not presume perhaps, but assume I must be arguing towards the opposite of whatever it is that we're talking about. Does that make sense?
yeah, I get that, but that's not what I said. I'm not saying that your worldview is
Okay,
not
go on.
their worldview. I'm saying by you taking a position to say they are too confident in their worldview,
Perhaps.
you've got a worldview that says that their worldview is not as solid as they think it is. Just by
Yes.
definition, you've got a different perspective to them.
Yes, I do.
Perspective you're confident in.
Yes, that's fair to say to some extent.
Exactly. In a similar way that they're confident in their perspective of their worldview.
Here's the thing, Taylor. Are you going, aha, hypocrisy? I've got you now, Josh. Or
No,
are you wanting to evolve this conversation?
what I'm trying to get you to evolve conversation of your critique of them, because so far your critique of them seems to be they believe their worldview.
That's not the limit of it. No.
They're not willing to compromise their worldview.
That could be argued, but that's also not the extent of what I'm saying.
Okay, help me see it is what. Help me see how that you're saying more than just that.
A lot of it is how they handle other people. Just things like politeness, if you will.
Methodology.
You could say so. You could say that. Okay. That's a more subtle thing than just clashing worldview stuff.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So the presumption. What's the presumed methodology for Christians as relates to forgiveness?
Oh, that's a very interesting question, and I'll have to unpack what you mean by that. So, how does presumption and the Christian worldview and forgiveness all kind of mix together, and where's the problem as I see it? Is that sort of what you're asking me?
That's what you said. That's what I'm trying to understand. You said that there's a problem with presumption as relates to Christians with forgiveness.
Yeah. Have you ever been told, like at the end of a conversation, "I'll pray for you"?
I've not only been told that, I've told people that. So yeah.
Sure. Has it ever made you feel like shit? Like, oh no, thank you.
No.
It has for me. And it has for other people, I assure you.
Yeah. So
it annoys people because it's
I didn't realize you were speaking. Go on.
I was just going to quickly interject that it's annoying for non-Christians because it's a Christian assuming a position of moral superiority over the non-Christian, and that's why it's annoying. Mm. But I've learned to accept it, mixing with you lot.
Yeah, you get used to it, don't you, Claire?
Yeah. Okay. This is fascinating. Let me go. This is fun. So it's annoying. So just tying it back to the question that you were answering. In this example of a Christian offering prayer after a discussion, is the presumption being shown there is that the person wants to be prayed for? Would it be better if the Christian asked, would you like me to pray for you?
That actually would be a step in the right direction, I would say.
That's
yes.
always the way it goes, isn't it? Do you just have people
No,
praying for you, laying their hands on you? Okay, I can see how that can be a no. Yeah, that's fair.
no, but what I am saying, I look,
But like actually, what you said
I can.
was
Are you on Bridges of Meaning right now, Taya? Because I can show you receipts, if you will,
that
of people doing that sort of thing.
I am not. I am absolutely not trying to say that you're making this up or anything. So
No,
we don't
no,
need receipts.
no, no. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, in
What
a
I'm
way, I was
trying to
offering it
get at,
because it could. Sorry, go on.
what I'm trying to get is, you said that your question to me was, have you ever at the end of a conversation had a Christian ask you, "Can I pray for you?" So they are asking,
Hmm.
and you're saying that that would
Well,
be a lot better. But that was the example you gave.
asking is better. Declaring you will pray as a parting shot, which is frankly sometimes how it comes across.
Yeah, but in your question, asking was the problem. You said, "Have you ever had a Christian ask you at the end of the conversation, 'Can I pray for you?'"
Well,
That's
okay, okay. Maybe I sort of phrased it wrong, or maybe you misremembered. But what
maybe
I'm really saying is the letting you know they're praying for you without really asking, the
okay.
moral superiority stuff. I think you understand at this point,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
What
I
I'm
do.
getting at.
But
Yeah.
I just do. I want to understand you clearly, because is it the
Yeah, of
asking?
course, and I
Not,
appreciate that. I
it's not.
actually really appreciate that too.
So it's not just the asking; it's the presuming that
Mm.
um something like, "I have a cure for your illness, and I'm going to uh enact
My
it,"
pal Jesus and his boss God are going to
and
take care of you.
and
Have we lost you, Teo? Claire? Or am I lost? Find out. Sorry, something froze there for a second. Everyone good now?
I'm
I
not.
thought I heard the rustle of sheets.
Yeah, I don't know.
That
It's
is
the
a
internet,
great.
guys. It is what it is. This is live
That's
streaming.
that's like a great start to like a really good song. I thought I heard the rustle of sheets.
I actually like that, Teo. I should do one. No, I probably never will write that song, but someone should. Someone in the chat,
I
maybe.
guess someone should.
Actually, is there anyone in the chat?
No, there's almost never anyone in the chat on these streams. It's just a conversation between Claire and whoever she's talking to, and I'll pop in once in a while to say Christ is King. It's the way it goes.
um, See, the irony there is that Claire is very well practiced at streaming in a lonely fashion, and I think she's become good at it. Unfortunately, many people disagree. How do you feel, Claire?
To it, but I mean, the thing is, my message is so simple to understand that they sort of, equate secular Quranism with me, and that's fine, and they hate me, and it's like, that's fine. You received and understood the message, so
Well, another topic I'd like to raise, and again, this concerns a
I
lot of
have
what we've been talking about so far.
as well, but you go first.
Okay, agreed, Teo. Agreed. So this is the purpose of negativity. Okay. So, like for example, forgiveness can't exist without some form of negativity. Would you guys agree to that?
I'm wrong being done. Yes, is that what you mean?
I mean, that's certainly one interpretation, and yeah, I'd say that's basically correct. Although I missed part of it because again, the internet is acting screwy. Teo, anything on your end?
No, I'm waiting for you to. I'm waiting for you to finish painting before I give a comment. I'm not gonna
Sure,
get.
that's fine. That's fine. I just see your circle moving, and I'm also paranoid that maybe you're speaking and nothing is coming through.
Oh, that's what I'll mute. I'm not speaking, so it's clearer.
Okay, that's fine. And also, the only way I could fix my mic for this weird restream program was to turn it on full blast all the time, as Claire knows in our first stream. So anyway, I'll finish what I'm saying here. So the nature and purpose of negativity. Okay, so you really need negativity. Sometimes you really need even really negative stuff, like you could say anger, even hatred, arguably. Things happen that are negative and they have meaning that isn't just entirely oblivion. Or to put it another way, there was some very interesting conversations that I was having in that Chris Howard stream right at the end, very, very short, with that fellow Jonathan, where we were starting to talk some very not typical Christian ideas, like Lucifer will be forgiven, and there's a purpose to what's going on with him. That's that's my opening salvo on the purpose of negativity. We're going to get more political about it actually, and talk about some of the problems of the dissident right, which I raised earlier. But also, Teo, if there was a topic or a response you want to give, go for it.
What do you want first? The response at the topic.
The response first, and then let's lead into your topic.
The response was just you were saying you had a problem with forgiveness being a need or a must. That was one
A
of the
must specifically,
things. Yeah. But now you're saying the negativity is needed. So you have the problem
yes.
with forgiveness being needed, but you don't think negativity being needed. That's just
Well, this is sort of the paradoxical stuff that happens in theology and spirituality, for one thing, right? Like two tension-laden concepts kind of being true at the same time, but in different situations. Yeah.
yeah. It's just my response to what you were saying.
No, okay. And we can move to your topic now because we can always come back to this stuff I'm talking about. I want to hear what you were wanting to bring up.
What I wanted to bring up actually is a way to try to get Claire to actually speak more on her stream. She's doing.
Yeah, sure. Go. I have trouble getting her to speak as well, by the way. So carry on.
Oh, you have trouble getting anyone to speak.
Well,
No,
you say that.
that's not fair. That's not fair. You don't have any problem speaking. So if the
No,
other
not
person
really.
has problem speaking, you can speak for the both of them. That's but better.
Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, what I wanted to ask genuinely is
Hmm.
about one of your pet topic, which is free speech.
You could say that, yeah.
Claire, you there? Just checking because she often will go on a different arguing with someone else somewhere else on a different website or different streaming.
I think she's distracted, but the stream's still up and running, so it doesn't really matter. Free speech is a passion of mine. Go ahead.
I want to. If Claire, Claire's there.
What was the question?
We were just trying to bring you in.
Yeah, because I figured you probably would off doing something else. But whilst
I'm still here, but I'm just letting you guys talk. I mean, if I feel the urge to say something,
See, this is the problem with being too polite about everyone. You go. You go. Like, you see what I mean, Teo? Everything is a double-edged sword of some kind.
I completely agree with you, but this is not me being polite. This is just genuine curiosity about Claire's stance on free speech. Because can I just get?
I support it.
You do, but you don't just support it. You see free speech, the American.
Yeah, I'm saying that the Quran, the Sharia support the First Amendment with Chapter 2, verse 256 of the Quran that says there is no compulsion in belief. Truth stands clear from error.
Okay. So the part of the reason you go on about free speech is because you see it as core to America's identity, and it's something that the Quran affirms. So it's a way of helping them bridge the gap from American to secular Quranism.
Yes, because when Jews and Christians took their religion seriously, and they don't now, they took it seriously enough to, execute people who didn't believe in, the same thing as they did. Heretic burning and, stoning idolaters for Jews. So, no freedom of belief for Jews and Christians when they took their religion seriously.
Wait.
Okay.
Is that not the opposite of what you're proposing? So when they took
in a way, it is sounding that way, Claire. So you need to add more.
Sorry. What do you want me to add?
Okay, so you're saying you support free speech, and you think there's Quranic support for that concept, yeah?
Yeah. And the First Amendment is evidence of this.
Sure.
Because there is a White House Quran. It belonged to Thomas Jefferson, a founding father, and he does talk about these things at length. If you
but where the confusion is added when you also say that you like the idea of when the religions took themselves seriously and would be executing people for wrongthink.
Oh no. Well, I suppose in a way it's good for Islam to say, oh, but we believe in free speech. We wouldn't dream of executing anybody for apostasy or idolatry, because it's an imperial religion. As long as you pay the jizya, we'll work with you. So be Christian, be idol worshippers, but keep paying the jizya once we've conquered you. That's their thing. But if you don't want to pay the jizya, convert to Islam. That's the deal,
Hmm.
which I think is
I
fair enough.
I think Claire, you're just gonna keep running into the brick wall, and I sympathize with some of what you say, most definitely. I think you're gonna keep running into the brick wall if people just don't like Islam much.
Wait,
I
wait,
know.
before you give her that out, I still don't understand how you're not saying two things are opposite. Um, how can okay? Let me see if this question might make it clearer. In a society with free speech, is freedom of belief a given?
Yes.
Okay, so if freedom of belief is a given, then the Quranic that you're saying you like the when freedom of belief wasn't a given but was actually uh, policed by the state because that's when they could burn heretics. And how can you have freedom of belief and also be burning heretics? That's the question.
I'm saying Islam is not Christianity, so it wouldn't practice the Christian practice of burning heretics at the stake. So you can show that you know
All
Islam
right.
is more liberal because it supports the First Amendment, which a lot of people regard as a liberal
Okay.
achievement.
All right. I'm up to. I'm following you now. So the argument is something like, even though Americans have the First Amendment, they are unable to enact it to its fullest potential because of Christian heresy. That means that they can always resort to burning heretics, even though they claim to have freedom of uh, speech. Whereas in Islam, the freedom of speech is structured well enough so that you're either a Muslim or you're paying tax, and there's no need to burn heretics. That's the argument. Am I following? Is that
Yes, yes. Thank you for making it so clear, and also, you know, I go on at Christians because I'm basically trying to explain to Christians that I don't want you to change your religion. You can still go to, everybody can carry on going to their usual place of religious worship, but there will be certain laws that will support marriage and other stuff that I think, people would like anyway. They're just sort of, a
I
bit bigoted about
when was
Islam.
the last time American burnt a heretic? Like, who was the last?
officially speaking, that's a really tough sell.
I
Yeah,
don't. I'm not even speaking religious. Like, I will take an
The,
answer.
the
Or,
Salem witch trials, but that was
but
before,
that was
that was
arguably
when it
not
was
even
the
official
British.
in terms of the government.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your full sentence. What was it?
So I said, arguably, that wasn't even official in terms of the government doing the Salem witch trial burning. I don't honestly know enough, but like that's my guess that it was sort of over enthusiastic people taking it on into their own hands. I think Islam has some pretty strong laws in its nations as well as acts done officially that sound a hell of a lot like punishing free speech. And I'm sorry, you might have to answer for that one. Not you personally, but answer to that issue, Claire.
Well, that's because a lot of Muslims they don't know that verse I referred to. Chapter 2, verse 256 that says there is no compulsion in belief. Truth stands clear from error. And there's also another verse, chapter 17, verse 111, that basically says God does not need protectors, and with the implication that God doesn't require blasphemy laws to protect his feelings from being hurt. So there are two verses in the Quran. But obviously, over the centuries, Muslims have distorted their own religion and ignored
Mm.
it, just as Christians have ignored their own
So,
religion, and Jews.
unless you want to go, Teo, I have a thought. Um, so, what I'm thinking is, Claire, in all honesty, I think your project might be more appropriately finding the value of Islam and expressing it to people who wouldn't expect much value there. Whereas this whole grand political notion, secular Quranism, really convincing people about it, like a bit more hardcore, it doesn't seem to be taking root with people. Is one way of putting it. Does that make sense?
Oh yes, I don't. Um, I know people don't like it, and they don't want to be seen to be even discussing it, let alone
Hmm.
consider it.
Hmm.
because of the taboo, really. Because I know what I'm trying to do, which is to say, to tell Europeans that, well, Christianity really isn't your real religion, because
Hmm.
liberalism has actually replaced it in the last 250 years. There will be lots of people who pretend to be kind of Christian, but actually, in Britain and in America, most people are atheist and liberal, and it is liberalism that is the prevailing political orthodoxy, and and America, there is a curious kind of, all these fake Christian voters and these fake Christian ruling classes, and they just pretend that Christianity is whatever they say it is, including supporting gay marriage and, transgenderism, because Christianity, because it doesn't have codified principles, unlike Judaism and Christianity, it is whatever, whoever claims to be a Christian leader says it is. and,
Hmm.
and that is really its danger, because I would just equate what Christianity has been with what MAGA has become. Because when Trump was talking about MAGA, everybody thought no more endless wars, the end of uncontrolled mass immigration, and then he became president and he said more, more H-1B visas, and more, I'll start another war of my own. And when Marjorie
So,
Taylor Greene said, I thought, and MAGA meant the end of endless wars and some lessening of uncontrolled immigration. I mean, Trump basically said, MAGA is exactly what I say it means, and I've changed my mind now.
so on that topic,
May I?
um, yeah, go Teo.
Yeah, just again, now that I've sort of shown you that I do understand what you're going on about with free speech, I still don't buy it. I understand it, but I'm not sold on it. And part of the reason for that is, well, do we all agree that the American expression of the free speech law is basically what we're all enjoying on the internet,
I
Oh, that's an interesting question.
ideally?
Hmm.
Yes, I think
Claire?
we're too much on the internet, because what we really should be doing is talking to people in real life, in the same room
Yep.
as us.
Yeah.
But people are too afraid, or they think because I've said what I want on the internet, I don't feel the urge to tell my
No,
friends and
but
family.
part of what I'm getting to, and just I hate that I spoke over you over there because I can agree with all of the things that you were saying about being on the internet too much. But I want to be clear about what the question I was actually asking, which is that in we've all known channels that got banned for saying the wrong things and
Yep.
uh, you know go touching the third rail, and it was more so in the pre 2020. It was, I mean, 2020, 2021, there was a whole bunch of channels getting banned. And
Definitely.
the in a non-American, if in a non-American, in a world where the virtual world doesn't run on Americans first speech laws, that those would be completely fine. These are private websites and they can allow whoever they want uh to stay or not stay. And if they say that some speech is not allowed, they're allowed to ban them. But the reason so many people felt like that was an injustice was because we were all used to the internet being running on Americans' first speech laws. Being, I can say whatever I want, um, for the most part, and I shouldn't have my channel banned, for example. Is that are you tracking so far? There is a
I
question.
am. How do you feel, Claire?
Could you summarize what Teo has been saying,
Well,
please?
it okay. So the vibe that I'm getting, and correct me, Teo,
Go for it.
is like a lot of people came into politics on the internet, right? Especially in the live streaming era. We were talking about it on one of our streams, actually. Like, let's take the era from like 2015 up till now. Like, it's been a hell of a ride. Um, and there was rough and tumble before 2020. People getting banned over Trump stuff or all sorts of stuff. Like we don't even have to go into it all. Um, the thing is, uh, a lot of people felt like, okay, we're in the international waters, so to speak, of the internet, right? That yeah.
Yeah.
So America is pretty dominant internationally and even legally. I mean, they impose their will quite a bit. Um, in a way, a lot of people assumed, hey, the internet, it's the Wild West. The very early internet, even before 2015, was pretty unregulated in a lot of ways. Like you could make your own website, you could talk on forums, say what you wanted, all of that. Um, but it has turned out that a lot of the centralization of the internet infrastructure into like certain sites where everyone is siloed has really been a golden opportunity for those who wish to censor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does this all sound fair enough to you, Teo?
Yep. Oh, good. Claire, did you track all of that?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so with all of that being said, I'm going all the way back to your idea that the Islamic free speech is better than the American free speech because the American free speech is a Christian free speech that leads to heresy. And I think I can sort of make an argument that the banning that took place in the height of the COVID days like, is a good example of a form of burning heretics.
Or
Yeah. Secular burning of
excommunication.
heretics. I can see what you're
Yes.
getting at, Teo.
Yep. Okay. So with that being said, the Islamic version of that would look like you can pay to play.
Yeah, that's another interesting observation, Teo. I have to give it to you.
Claire, is that correct? Would the Islamic version of the virtual speech, free speech law be pay to play?
What do you mean by that?
The
Meaning,
jizya.
yeah, you
Oh
can say
no.
whatever you want, but as long as you're paying the tax to stay on this platform.
No. I see the jizya as a tribute, a conditional tribute, and it's only payable. You don't impose it on your own citizens. You impose it on a country you've conquered.
That just
After
makes everything even more complicated, to be honest.
no, I'm just saying the jizya. Is not something you impose on your own citizens. So
Well,
let people not be afraid anymore.
well, to get down to brass tacks, if like Islamic countries started trying to impose jizyas on Europe, like first of all, Europe would not take that seriously, and second of all, if the Islamic countries pushed it, that's war, or that's who knows
Yes,
what.
well,
Like
it is after a successful conquest, after a successful imperial war. And how likely is it? I mean, I don't think any Muslim country is going to be invading the West. And if
no, look,
so,
like I'm gonna take everything. Like, do you guys mind if I take it all in a really different direction right now, so we don't get too stuck in one thing? Like, you don't want to wake the tiger of European whites just saying, fuck this. We're going pretty hardcore racially and militarily. That is a
you've
thing that is
already done
possible.
it. You've
Have we?
already, yeah,
Historically? Or I'm
you
talking,
bomb, you invade Muslim countries and you
oh,
bomb
you're talking about the
Iraq.
Americans here. I'm talking more about the Europeans, the whole of the European
The
diaspora and
Europeans,
Europe in particular.
well, the Europeans take orders from Washington.
At this point, they kind of do. You're right. But that's not a state of affairs that's going to last forever.
Okay, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm just talking
Fair enough.
about how it would work in theory, and people
Okay.
are, and I'm just telling you my interpretation.
Hmm.
So, I know, but even a lot of Muslims say, well, jizya is less than the tax they're currently paying now.
Funnily enough, if I can make a comparison to that, the Americans in their revolution ultimately ended up paying more taxes to shore up the costs of the war than the British were ever asking for.
Sorry, before that's an interesting sidetrack. You're teasing me with that, but I do want to get your answer on what is that structure. What does that structure look like for
And
free
it's not going to be
speech?
up to you, Claire. It's going to be up to all sorts of people, honestly, like the caliphates and the negotiators and all of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is
sure,
it?
but we can just talk about it in theory, right? I think people just conflate, what they think is going to happen now with what it is in theory. We must be
That's
able to
why I want to get back to your
hypothesize.
theory. That's why I want to get back
Okay.
to understanding your theory of how it would play out.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you have a question, Teo.
Yeah, the question you said it would be so the I presume that it would be a pay to play, meaning you basically have to you can say whatever you want, you can preach the gospel in an Islamic web, but as long as you're paying tax. But who would that tax be paid to? Would it be to the caliphate, like Josh?
Yeah.
Well, okay, the caliphate, as I understand it, would be the most powerful Islamic state in the whole wide world.
Okay.
I don't think there was a time when there were actually two, like, I'm the caliphate. No, no, you're not the caliphate, I am. So
Are
the
you
caliphate,
kidding? Sorry, that sounds a lot like Islamic history to me.
well, the last caliphate was the Ottoman Empire. So
Yeah.
I don't think there were any competing caliphates. But
Is the
basically,
caliphate now Iran?
no, there's no caliphate. And there's
Okay,
so
there's no caliphate to pay. Oh no, what do we do now?
well, I mean, Iran. I mean, if you want a caliphate, you have to get the Muslims to say, well, which country is a caliphate. But
Yeah, put aside the
90,
Sunni Shia differences and on and on and on it goes.
yeah, so they're so divided that they can't even think of even restoring the caliphate. I've heard them talk about the subject, and I'm saying, well, the quickest way to do it is to decide which is the most powerful Islamic state, and it's Iran, isn't it? And the Sunnis say, no, it can't be them, the heretics, and
Yeah, we're
stupid shit
getting
like
cut
that.
down into reality again. I wanted to stick to your theory of secular Quranism. How does it work?
Yeah.
Were you asking a question, Taya? I'm
And what
sorry.
is its relevance to like Britain or something? Aren't you based in
Okay,
Britain,
I think
Claire?
I think Teo needs to ask this question, and I need to
Oh,
answer it.
sorry. Okay, okay, sorry.
Yeah, the question is, I'm still sticking to the free speech thing, which is, and you said free speech is enacted differently under secular Quranism because it will be following the Quranic model of you pay jizya, and that's how you're able to uh, maintain free speech. You can say what you want by paying the tax to be able to say what you want. And in the virtual
No,
world,
no,
currently the way it
everybody.
works, well, if
Okay,
you're not Muslim,
let,
if you're not Muslim, you
you
you pay
can
the
still
tax.
enjoy free speech. That's the whole idea, right? So imagine America. It's adopted secular Quranism. Christians can still say what they want on their social media platforms, right? And
Yeah.
and they can try and convert, whoever if they want to try, and so can Muslims, right? And it would be, yeah.
Wait, so you don't have to. There isn't a tax associated with free speech.
Sorry, what was the
That's the
last?
confusion about you bringing up the jizya and all this, Claire.
Yeah.
I don't. You guys mentioned it.
No, you did in answering my question because I
You're
said
concerned in free speech. I think it was you, Claire. Sorry.
Okay.
this is why
Okay.
I'm curious about
I mean,
your
there's so
I
many
actually,
interruptions. So many interruptions. I don't know what. Okay. I just address Teo, please, Josh. Can I just talk to Teo?
yeah.
Thank you.
thank you, Claire.
I've forgotten the question.
The question is how does free speech law works in under secular Quranism virtually? Currently, it works by uh, the companies banned similarly along ideological lines, but it's not clear. Under Quran, secular Quranism, how would that play out? Free speech is something that's important. It's a it's in the Quran. You quoted the verse. How does it play out for non-Muslims?
Well, you're free to criticize Islam, right? I mean, I know it's important to you to feel you can criticize um, Islam, but um, what would be okay is you can say a lot of things now that you're not allowed to say. In terms of hate speech, and suddenly everybody's accused of being a Nazi, including Jews, um, and this would be allowed, but there would be a system of finally resolving the issue, because if there's some um, um, issue that cannot be agreed with, you will have to kind of arrange a debate on the subject. I mean,
Okay.
whatever the subject is, and then everybody can watch it. Everybody in the country can watch this debate, and then they can say whether they, who won and, whatever. So it will be resolved in a rational way.
Yeah, that doesn't sound much different to what we currently have in
Do
terms
we?
of.
There's so many things we can't even talk about, and nobody will engage with it. So I've said before, if I had my way, I would like my streams to be 24/7 debating society, but nobody wants to debate. And even amongst the dissident right, they don't want to talk about anything contentious at all, because I think they're just afraid of arguing with each other and falling out with each other, and they just want to you know put up
What I was pointing to is more so the lack of resolution in what you're proposing.
well,
You said
idolatry.
what's idolatry?
Whether Christianity is idolatry.
Yeah, take that for example. That's a debate I've seen you have with many people that doesn't resolve itself, but it's someone takes the affirmative, you take the affirmative, and a Christian takes the other side, and it never resolves them. And you didn't really say in your system how things would be resolved. You just said there'll be a debate, and that's what's you gets to decide who's right in the debate. How does the debate resolve itself?
My idea of judging who wins the argument is to count the number of sound arguments contained in the speech and arguments of either.
You guess, I'm sure both sides think the argument is sound. Who's the third party authority?
Yeah, there will be a third party, and which is that, and that's why I've been trying to tell people: look, if you have an issue, just divide yourself into groups of three and argue it out with somebody being the moderator, and the moderator has to say who won the argument and why, and then they can argue about it some more. If that's what they want,
That's
and
what
I
I
think
mean. That's all it results itself to, is just arguing about it some more. That's what we've currently
and I
got.
think it's important rather than not doing it at all, which is what I see the TLC doing. They're really superficial debates, and when it starts to get interesting, it's time to go. And that's what I think. Nothing is ever properly resolved. Of course, the best way of resolving it would be a TV debate on CNN or BBC, but they're not going to do that.
Can I come in?
Hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes. Sorry, I should be
Thanks.
clear.
That's all right. I thought I would give you a good while to hash it out yourselves. So I do feel we kind of need to move on from the jizya and the free speech. Like, just honest to God, we're
I'm
getting stuck there.
satisfied.
Yeah, thanks. Good. Thank you, Teo. So, what I think is a good next place to go, tying into what Claire is talking about, is let's discuss debate itself and in a way the decline of debate. I'm pretty sure, Claire, you feel there's been a decline in the quality and frequency of debate. Is that fair? Claire?
Sorry, yes, I was speaking. I was agreeing with you while muted. Yes,
That old
people
chestnut.
can't
Go on,
do it
Chris.
anymore. They just can't.
No.
I mean, they're just so stupid. I've even watched Oxford Union debates, and they don't do all the interjections and requests for information and that kind
Furious
of thing.
debate really gets somewhere sometimes, doesn't it, Claire? I know. I love them.
So
Like
they
a
can't do
real
a formal.
rager of a debate, like where it gets nasty even sometimes. This is also the strengths of negativity. Sometimes negativity gets the resolution rather than endless positivity. Would you agree with that as well? Claire and Teo, I want to hear both of you on that.
Yeah, so it just needs to be properly done. People can't do it because they're ADHD and they can't grasp the rules of debate. So the best they can do is a dialogue, right? You know, I say something, you respond, you either agree or you don't, and you ask
Mm,
questions, and that's how it goes, right?
mm, mm.
And some people don't even know what a conversation is because you will say something, I will say something that is entirely unrelated to what you said. You wait for me to finish, and then you talk about your thing again, and everybody listening will get bored and go away. And I've
Yeah.
seen this thing done in the dissident right because they are so
Yep.
terrified of disagreeing with each other. And I'll tell you which debate it was. It was the debate between Joe Davis and the Irish guy,
I
Keith.
didn't see that one. Is that Keith Woods, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was
Do you know who we're
terrible.
talking about, Taya?
He probably doesn't. But
I
anyway,
I know Keith Woods. Yeah,
mm,
Do you know Joel Davis? I know both of these guys.
I do not know, not by
He's
name.
an Australian national, one of those.
Understood.
Yeah.
oh yes, he went through a phase of I'm Catholic now, I'm Catholic, and then he went I can't do it anymore. It's doing my head
Yeah.
in. I just don't believe in it. I can't do
You
it.
know, actually, it's hilarious. It's a very Australian thing, and Joel Davis is very Australian, in his way. It's a hilariously Australian thing to do to ditch Catholicism and go harder into politics. I mean, I totally get it, man. Hats off to you, Joel, and good luck in prison. He's in prison right now, as far as I know. Um, yeah,
You
an
know,
Australian
I think
prison.
yes, yes. But I mean, I thought as it was happening, it's like, well, they see that they're allowing these Aussies to go much further than they do, in the UK, and it's like, yeah, but they were just kind of flushing you guys out, like, let them all join, and then and then we'll get their faces, we'll get their addresses, and we'll throw them into prison.
Well,
Oh
like
no,
the
no.
NSN, which is what Joel is a part of, I think.
Mhm.
The network. Yeah, you with me, Teo? Sorry. I'll stop hassling you. So the NSN is an organization that's very small, basically banned, functionally just outsider stuff, but they don't utterly eradicate it because it would be quite a thing to do that. But also, one of the problems is they need a heel. You know about that whole academic agent concept, right? About heels and politics and all that, right?
No, please explain.
Okay,
Please
so
explain.
academic agent. Okay, sure. Academic agent is really big on wrestling and wrestling analogies as they apply to politics.
Hmm.
And a heel is a term for a wrestling villain. Does that make sense?
I don't know what that means.
Okay, so in
They
wrestling,
need a
because it's
bad guy
scripted,
to go against. They need a bad guy to go against.
yeah. So in wrestling, it's scripted. You have the heroes called the faces, and the villains called the heels. Heels behave in certain ways. They use cheap tactics to win. They cheat. They're jerks. They're up themselves. All that. And faces are more charismatic, even if they're also a bit, whatever. It's this whole thing. But heels in politics really means you need a big bad guy to divide the populace, to point the finger at something other than the government as the problem. Like, and the media just loves a circus, of course. So, do you get what I mean now, Claire?
It's kayfabe. Yes, that's what
Kayfabe,
it's
and
called.
kayfabe is a wrestling term.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. So, I guess if we're talking about like free speech, the nature of debate, Joel Davis, Keith Woods, all of that, what should I say? Joel Davis strikes me as more of a cynic than Keith Woods. Keith Woods strikes me as more of an idealist. I don't know either of them really well, but I can totally see that they would have a difficult debate and not quite get along.
Yeah, because
However,
Woods is Marxist and Davis at the time was Catholic. Yes.
okay, I didn't even know that, right? And you're talking about the difficulties of the dissident right to have good debates. That's a general topic right now, shall we say?
Yeah, because okay, they're not very good at it, and that's why they don't want to do it. And then
No.
it provokes too much ill feeling, and they don't want to, do that and make themselves even more divided. So they just try to avoid contentious issues.
That's such cheap YouTuber. Oh, they don't want to do this because project X and Y onto them. But to actually have a better conversation, what is it? Okay, let me ask. What makes you think that's the reason that they don't want to debate instead of presuming?
Well, it was a confession by Millennial Woes. He actually admitted it when in one of his streams.
Well, Millennial Woes is one of the
That
more
one of the
thoughtful
two people.
characters associated with the right. Sorry, Taya. Go ahead.
Yes, he is, and he said because he doesn't want to do it, and that then his millennials are basically nannying the viewers and subscribers, right? It
Yeah.
was I, I was complaining about it with this other chap, doing but anyway, this is how they're being nannied. Men are being nannied. They're nannying each other, and
Mm.
it's unmasculine.
Did you
Yeah.
watch the David Woods and Andrew Wilson debate?
No, I
I'm
haven't.
familiar with Andrew Wilson's style, but I don't know who's the other character. Sorry, Taya.
David Woods is he's a Christian theologian, I suppose, if you want to dignify
Uh,
him, or he's an Islamophobe.
okay, okay. What was the debate about? Go on, Taya.
It's not
Yeah, I didn't
important.
see it. I didn't see it. So
But
maybe you can
Okay.
tell
not
us.
important, but the fact that you both didn't see it, I think, does speak to both of your appetite for watching debates. So, well, what was the last good debate either of you saw?
I honestly don't know how to answer that question.
Daniel Hockeycatcher is the best one.
What was the last debate that you thought was?
I can't remember, but I mean, he's actually the best debater. You know,
I'm sure is debated. David Wood and all of those guys. I've not actually. I think I have seen one or two. But the point is that you're complaining. You want to have a conversation about debate, but the conversation seems to be about how there is no good debate. So I'm trying to find out from both of you who are interested in debates
Hmm?
when this started, when this stopped, when was the A day of debates on the internet?
Oh, that's a very good question, Tao. In a way, it's not entirely clear cut. I need to separate myself a little bit from Claire in that, like, I'm probably not as obsessed with this debate needs to come back in a big way kind of thing, right? But I
Why
do know
not?
where she's coming from. Sorry, go on.
Why not?
Um, okay. So really what we need is constructive conversation and action that leads to decision and resolution. The debate would definitely be a part of that, right? But
That sounds
as
like the feminization of debates that Claire's just complaining about. So you guys should debate
I
about
said decision and resolution. That's not decision is not so feminine, right?
conversation.
Well, I said constructive conversation, including debate. Like people
Okay,
are
what
always
does that
hassling me
mean?
for being too negative, for being too decisive, for being like sorry, Tay, including you, and like,
Yeah,
well, let's
go.
get into it then. All right.
Yeah,
So,
that's
what am I really after here with the way that I conduct myself in debate? Because I constantly end up in debates. Personally, we can talk about the internet in general, but all right, I'm making it about me. Sue me. The way I handle myself. Sorry, Teo, what was that?
that was a cheeky comment. I'm not gonna repeat it. Keep going.
That's fine. I don't care. I don't mind. I make plenty of cheeky comments. All right.
Then you made it by yourself. I said shock. That's all it was.
Yeah. I remember. I remember Bridges of Meaning years ago. How many years was it? Because I honestly don't remember. When was it, Taya?
It was 2 years going on 3.
2 or 3 years. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Paul Vanderclay has showed up. Hello, PVK. Oh my goodness, the man himself.
Where's PVK?
Check the live chat.
Oh, gosh, I didn't even forgot that was the thing. Let me.
Yeah. This is Paul Vanderclay celebrating. Paul, stick around, and Paul, you have no idea how much I have. It's
Paul-
been a bit of a crowbarring of myself into the corner against some people's preferences, but I sure have found myself a spot. Don't you worry, PVK. And that's a good thing to add. Bomb started in 2018. I showed up about 2 or 3 years ago, and now I'm back again. Cool. All right. Now we have a real audience member. Okay.
PVK's extra is starting in about 20 minutes. So
That's fine. He can stick around for 10 and I'll be happy. That's all good, man.
that's adorable.
we do have a distinguished member of the audience, and
We do indeed.
greatly complimented that I have a guest that has attracted PVK.
Indeed. Indeed. I've actually been in a little bit of email contact with PVK, and of course, there's my famous rando stream, which you might you didn't see that, did you, Taya? But like, you might enjoy it. I don't know.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
You know, I've seen
Claire.
it.
Yeah, that's how Claire started getting interested in me, actually.
Yes, and it
Anyway,
was PVK who introduced us. I mean, that there's a certain irony in it.
there is.
Small ironies of life. Yeah.
Honestly, Claire, if I may make a statement about the TLC and you, I feel like you were more of an outcast, and actually, you're finding your own place now.
Well, I've been accused of infiltrating and colonizing, so and here I am.
Well, I never.
But I mean that's a great thing about it. You know, you can be a yes or no person in and out of the flotilla. So, um,
Yeah.
yes, I think
What
it
a
is.
term, the flotilla. It's like when I first heard it, I'm like, what? Now I get it, but of course,
Why not the fleet? It's a fleet, isn't it?
it's a
Oh,
fleet.
we want to think of ourselves as part of the fleet, but which is more powerful?
Um.
I think I looked it up and I forgot the answer. Fleet.
Oh, it's fine. It doesn't even matter. Um. Yeah. Thank you, Paul, for letting us know you're still here. We really appreciate it, and you got to tell us when you're leaving. Now you're obliged. So, let's see. Where do we go from here?
No.
Where was the conversation before we all got excited about PVK?
No, before you got excited about PVK, you distracted yourself by you were about to tell me your system
of debate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why
So
you behave the way that you do?
So, Teo, you've witnessed part of it, the method of my madness, and I will elaborate a bit more. So, I one thing I do, especially with theology, because I am not well read on the topic at all, is I just blunder into a situation, pick a fight. Well, not pick a fight. That's even harsh, even on myself. But I sort of blunder into a situation, start a conversation. It usually goes poorly initially because I'm really talking my thing and they're really talking theirs. But over time, it starts to settle down and we start getting more of a measure of each other. And we start at least grudgingly, usually they're more grudging than I am, Teo. Grudgingly giving little bits of agreement to each other. Not like, oh, I'm changing my views because you just told me I should change my views, which is not going to happen, especially with Christians. But we definitely find points of commonality, and then the conversation proceeds again constructively. The reason I open a little bit heavy. Sorry?
Where's the resolution?
Oh, the resolution. I guess I'm building toward it personally, and they're probably trying to build towards their own idea of what the resolution would be.
Claire, are you satisfied by that method of debate where the resolution gets built onto indefinitely, seemingly?
I don't want to be indefinite about it, but yeah, Claire, what do you think?
Well, I'd be happy if these debates take place, right? And then I mean, I do have a very definite way of determining who wins because I did participate in a blood sports debate a long time ago, and I transcribed everything, you know, and then I worked out that I had more sound arguments, and the other person voted to be the winner. And I still have it on record, and this is how it's going to be done. The person with the most sound arguments wins a debate. And of course,
Okay,
you go,
so
oh, what's a sound argument?
is it the frequency of the most, meaning the most amount of arguments that is deemed sound? So the most, that's countable. We can count how many arguments are made. Now the soundness of the argument, that seems like you're back in a subjective realm.
No, it's not subjective at all. So, okay, a valid argument is a logical argument. An example would be if toasters were gold, toasters would be valuable objects. So it would be logical if it's true, but it's not true because toasters are not made of gold. And then you have the sound argument. All men are mortal. Socrates is a man. Therefore, Socrates is mortal. that argument is sound.
Okay. I kind of get where you're going with that, Claire, and that's
Okay,
fine as far as it goes.
wait. So it's, but what's the relevance of Socrates? The argument about just made about Socrates being a man, therefore Socrates will die. Uh, where does relevance
It's an
come in?
example.
Because you're just speaking solely about the, because we can have an argument about I don't know, um, the Trinity, and I can make a whole bunch of quote unquote sound arguments that aren't relevant, and by your definitions, I would win it a bit because I've got a more sound argument.
Well, obviously, it
This
has
is
to be
interesting.
relevant to
Okay,
supporting your claim, whatever it is. Because
now
there will be an argument, um, or a question to be decided is usually, is X Y, or should X be done? So
do you
the
do you
title, the proposition is key to the content of the
sorry,
discussion.
Josh, go on, jump in.
Thank you, Teo. Claire, do you mind?
Go on.
Just jump in.
I would. Okay, so two things. Teo, you were asking me best debate I saw recently. Does fiction count? We're saying it counts. So I was really re-examining the final scene of A Few Good Men. Are we familiar with that movie?
Not sure. I mean, the
It's
jury
the "you
thing.
can't handle the truth" speech sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
the jury thing. Okay.
Well, okay. So what's really happening is this is the really pointy end of a really badly failing. Well, not totally badly failing, but it's not going well for Tom Cruise. I can't remember what it's called. Tom Cruise is running his defense of two Marines who are accused of accidentally murdering someone as part of this thing called a Code Red. The Code Red is a colloquial term within the Marines for extrajudicial punishment for someone who is failing the unit, right? And when they did this Code Red, the person died. So there's this big investigation and blah, blah, blah. The Jack Nicholson character that is very famous, but actually not that prominent in the movie, at least not for the runtime, right? He comes up. Definitely he's in there. He's got the final scene of Tom Cruise trying to confront and break the colonel. And Tom Cruise's strategy is not to lay down sound arguments. Tom Cruise knows Jessup, the Colonel Jack Nicholson, really believes that what he does is right. So the "you can't handle the truth" quote, we all know, is actually not my favorite bit. The "you can't handle the truth" leads into this big speech that Jack Nicholson gives about just how hard it really is to defend the borders, defend the freedom of the USA, all of that, right? But where it gets really interesting is Tom Cruise just won't back down. He keeps putting on more pressure and more pressure until he just asks him point blank. Tom Cruise says, "Did you order the Code Red?" And Jack Nicholson, at the top of his voice, bigger line than "you can't handle the truth." "You're goddamn right I did." Sorry to blow out your eardrums. But that's a fucking resolution. Do we get it? That's a resolution.
I'm sorry. Could you say without shouting what the resolution was in a few sentences?
Jack Nicholson says, "You're goddamn right I did." Answering the question of, did you
Did
order
what?
the Code Red?
Okay. So he
Yeah,
admitted.
the thing that went bad and someone died, all of that. Yeah? I had to shout. I'm sorry. I'm a thespian. Um, so the thing that happened here is beyond logic and even beyond pressure. The truth was revealed in public in a court of law. And the following aftermath is Jack Nicholson is now going to be charged and tried for whatever. Look, it's a real resolution to the debate, to the matter of justice, to the case. Yeah? And it took more than logic. And that's kind of what I'm getting at, okay? With part of the problem that we keep running into here. We need sort of, and you're into the narratives, Claire, the public narrative. We need public narratives about decisions and resolutions and actions and follow-up on what kind of society we want to be. Who do we, I feel I should use the word, who do we punish? Who do we reward? where are we actually going with all of this as a society? What do we
Sounds,
want to become?
sounds like we need religion that's got a
Perhaps
story that you can find yourself in, which will situate you in any situation to know what's right and what's wrong. Something like that, you know.
maybe Teo. But what I'm really getting at is people were kept asking like, where is the resolution? I'm after resolutions like the one I just talked about. Okay,
Yeah,
over to you guys.
so am I. And so, if you want the best form of justice, we need to choose the best moral system. And I'm saying I've got the very thing, and you don't like it, and then you have to say I've got something better, because otherwise, I'm the winner. You guys are just saying we don't like it, we don't wanna, you can't make us, right? And this is a childish response. You need to show that you have something better than what I'm proposing. And I think I've got all the arguments lined up to use against you as ammunition. And I
Okay,
hope,
we've got three people here. I don't think Josh is a secular Quranist, and I'm sure Josh believes his worldview is better than your worldview. So you guys can have an argument
well, I know
or
he's going
debate.
for the book of Urantia
Sorry. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. That's one of the
thing.
planks of my strategy. Let's put it
Well,
that way.
sorry. And I would say your difficulty with the book of Urantia is that nobody has heard of it. You probably won't be able to get anybody to read
Yep,
it, and that is the great difficulty.
possibly. Yes,
Mm. And
it is
then,
indeed
so
a
they
great
won't even
difficulty.
be able to
There are
make a
also advantages of
comparison.
that.
Um,
Yeah, but
I
is it
suppose. I
true?
mean, if you're so who knows?
Who knows?
But with the Quran, even people who hate it have heard of it, right? And people who hate it cannot think of a better guide to humanity, even though they hate it. And I know they're going to say the New Testament, but actually, there's nothing to follow in the New Testament, and it's not even from God. And you're going to be in difficulties. And oh yeah, and earlier, I think it was on, and Brett was. I can't remember who was talking about the Book of Hebrews, and nobody even knows who wrote the Book of Hebrews. Oh no, sorry, this was on Mark Parker's stream, which I recommend to everybody because he started. Yeah, that I think he upset a few people um, about his thing about the Book of Hebrews.
Is that mark of wisdom you're talking about, or am I wrong?
Mark D. Parker, who is part
Okay.
of the flotilla. I'll send
Okay.
you the. I may have sent you the link, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I,
Yes.
I haven't
So,
gotten around to it. Sorry.
so Josh, do you agree then that Claire's worldview is superior to yours because her book is more popular, at least known of?
No, no. But I do find her worldview fascinating, and I've learned from it.
Why do you disagree? That
Why do I disagree on which book is better and all of that? Is that
why do you disagree with her argument that her worldview is superior to yours because it's based on a book that people have read of?
okay? So I'm going to take this as an invitation to get into the Urantia question, as well as the Quranic question, as well as just sort of my own thoughts on the importance of books and fame and all of that, and modernity and the old texts and the new
As
texts.
long as it does answer the question. Let's not get too.
Sure, I will really do my best because you're asking about a really big question. What is my worldview, in my own estimation, still is kind of more preferable to me than Claire's, right? You are asking that essentially.
Even no, I want you to engage Claire's arguments directly, not just
Oh,
present.
okay. Engage her arguments directly. Okay, I think I know what you mean then. So let's pontificating about the books and more like getting into what do I see as the problem with Claire's propositions.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Now, Claire, I think you're pretty intelligent. I think you're pretty original in this. Like, I never would have thought of this idea, the secular Quranism stuff, and being an agnostic while doing it, and the absolutism about marriage and some other things. It's been a really interesting conversation we've been having over several days. The thing that I really keep disagreeing with is a little bit the lack of positivity, hope, thinking the final word is easy. Like you just set a rule and the rule should stand, and it's God's rule anyway, so of course it should stand. It's like that doesn't feel. And we're talking about the Abrahamic God, by the way. Claire is very big on the Abrahamic concept, and that's fine. That's fine, but that is only covering 3 religions, really. Um, I guess another problem that I have is I am probably more inclusive, more like universalist, as I've mentioned, and more interested in. Uh, I love the rough and tumble of debate. I actually do. Obviously, I do. But also, we need to move past just like really angry contentiousness with one another and get to that truth. And I think you're top heavy on the logic as well. Like, your logic is sound as far as I can tell in and of itself. But is it connecting to people, and is it connecting to the deeper ideas that go beyond logic?
Well,
Not as
that's
well, not as well as you might like.
well, that's why I've been complaining that even European men have, say, uh, facts and logic are overrated. So, what does it mean when they say that? They're just saying, you know, that their opinions, however incorrect, and their emotions, however irrational, matter more than somebody else's facts and logic. And this means that they will just be, swimming in their own emotions and never accepting correction. Because of course our emotions are our own. And therefore, because we love ourselves, we prefer to have our opinions, even if they're wrong, and enjoy our emotions, even if they're irrational, than somebody else's facts and logic. And that's why it's so important to have, some objective idea that is above us, because otherwise we'll be fighting each other, saying, well, who are you to tell me what to do? Why are your emotions or irrational emotions and your incorrect assumptions more important than my
The,
incorrect
All
assumptions,
right,
right?
yeah, I'm calling it. That was a very short-lived debate because you gave
oh,
up by saying that Claire's worldview is more logical than yours, therefore she wins.
sorry, what?
The argument so the argument that you made against Claire's worldview was, one, it's not universal enough. Two,
Yeah.
it's only focused on the Abrahamic God, which is part of it's not universal enough, but more specifically, it's to Abrahamic God focused, which is not, you sort of threw that in. I don't know if you're going to stand by it, but you threw that in as like another point. And but then finally you said that actually Claire's worldview does seem logical, and it's too logic heavy, actually,
Yeah,
with
that's
actually
true.
conceding Claire's
Yeah,
point.
I think I said all of that. That's fair to say.
Yeah.
But
So
why are you saying that should I
I
abandon my worldview and come over to Claire's? Is
I
that what
think
you're saying, Taylor?
no, I think it was a debate. You were debating,
Yeah.
and you conceded that we can't debate because logic is not.
Well, there are forms of debate and there are forms of debate. Debate is has a strong connotation that debate is about logic. Yeah, yeah, right.
About
And Claire will.
arguments, at least.
Agreed, agreed. So another thing you do, Claire, is you want it to be counting arguments that are valid and relevant, shall we say,
Mm,
on a debate matter, and use that to determine victory.
yes. How many
So
sound
one of the points
arguments
that I
can
was
you?
no, sorry, go on.
I'm just saying, yeah, count the number of sound arguments that you can summon in support of your claims, your argument.
So okay, but I am a little bit cleverer than maybe some people realize. So when I brought up the example from the movie A Few Good Men, okay, I mean Tom Cruise won the argument in a way. And the argument was not about the facts and the logic and all of that stuff. It was about the truth. And the truth was revealed through Oh, you could say pressure, but let's go deeper. And I actually want to think about this for the moment. The truth was revealed because they both wanted to tell the truth. And that's not that's not debate anymore. Jessup wanted to say, I did it. I have to do it. You pansies don't understand the pressure we're all under over there in Guantanamo Bay as the Marines. Like, and Tom Cruise wanted to be like, look, I have to defend these guys. These guys are getting cut loose. These two guys that you're trying to pin everything on, they deserve better. You gave the order. I suspect you gave the order. I want to know. In the end, they both told the truth. And that's not even debate anymore. It's something higher.
Well, I think it sounds like a complicated case. I haven't grasped. I didn't see the movie.
Yeah, you
I
might
need
like
to
it.
look it up. I'll certainly read the Wikipedia plot summary
Sure,
to
that's good
understand.
enough.
Yeah, and it seems to me you're saying, well, the law says this, but morality says something else. Yes.
Yes,
Okay, so
yes.
then we get into well, what is morality, and we'll go into it, an endless tailspin, unless we all agree to an official moral system that we can say, yes, we are Christian, we are Muslim, we are whatever, and I just don't think that there exists such a thing, because I think the powers that be are leaving it deliberately vague. We're kind of Christian, we're a little liberal, and maybe we're going to move towards something else. That
It's
seems
very
to
much an
me.
incomplete state. I agree. Go on, go on.
So I think this is insufferable, because it's sort of like you have a kid, it's your only child, and you didn't even bother to name it. You're calling your kid, your only child, it. Just give it a name. Your moral system that you claim to be, governed by. Do you have a moral system? I don't think you do.
Me,
You
Josh.
Westerners. No, I'm just talking about Westerners in general.
Westerners. Okay, go on, go on.
Yeah, yeah. So it's Congress, right?
Yeah,
It's the
so you,
legislature. MPs, the people who make the laws. Do they follow any moral system? No, they don't. And you can say, oh, but Australia is different to other countries. Okay, let's keep going to the top. Go to America. Are they even a Christian nation? And if so, what kind of Christian are they, and what are their principles? and
Mm,
and they won't agree, and they won't talk about it with you. This is what I found. It is a Unitarian Christian even Christian, because we know
mm,
what happened to Michael Servetus, who obviously believed in God but denied the Trinity, and he was burnt at the stake in Geneva by John Calvin. And these
mm.
snippets of history are not discussed, and I don't think anybody can understand Christianity without some understanding of church history, and Roman history, and European history. And who learns these things now? I don't think the average Western school child knows about the wars of the Reformation, or any of that. I don't think they know anything about that, which is very sad.
I don't think either of you really want to debate. It sounds like you both just want to complain. Well, mostly you,
Okay.
Claire, because the way Josh started by saying he wanted to talk about debate, and then he went into complaining about the lack of debate and the lack of quality of debate. So I was like, okay, you're both interested in debate. Let's hear your argument against each other. And each time it just both from you, Claire, specifically devolves into, oh, people don't want to do X, Y, and Z, rather than actually presenting a case, which
Well, I've just assumed I've won, because you know I'm saying the Quran is the best available guide, and even the people who hate that claim can't think of a better book. And Josh is saying the book of Urantia, and I'm
Is of
saying.
interest, but not absolute. Go on.
But I think that's a problem. If people, there's no advantage in choosing a new religion, because a new religion is a cult, and people are just going to treat people with a new religion with disrespect, like Scientology, and
The
Nation of
Moonies, for
Islam,
example.
Moonies, Mormons. We don't respect you because you're the new kid on the block. We're
Yep,
Catholic,
that
we're
happens a lot.
Jews, we've been around. You've just, who are you even?
Islam is younger than the Catholics or the Jews. We could
Hmm.
argue.
Yes,
So,
but
so
the thing,
where are we going?
but okay, the thing about Islam is that it's logical, and that I think is what strikes terror into these Christians. It is absolutely logical.
Mm, too
It
logical,
strikes
maybe.
terror even
In your view.
into Jews because they can't really win the argument either, and that's why
So, like, Islam likes to win the argument with violence quite a bit. Like, we don't have to even bother saying that the Christians do too. They do too, but the Islamists, in one way or another, do like to win the argument with force. Are
do
you going to
they?
deny that?
It's a
Okay.
European who has a three global empire, so
Yeah, yeah, I see your
who is
point
more
there.
violent.
But the Islamic world is substantial, and it
Not
was
as
created.
substantial as the West. I mean,
You could
America
say
is
that.
the global hegemon.
Yeah, in
It controls
decline, but yeah,
Australia down
yeah, pretty
under.
much. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know, I know.
and you have to buy, U.S. nuclear submarine. So, its
Well, we
power
tried
is
making our
assumed.
own, and it didn't go great. That's actually a particular that I know. Teo, you were bringing me up on maybe some of the quality of my attitudes towards debate. I'd like to explore that further if we can. Good. Teo?
Explore away.
Okay. So, where do you see, like, okay, we've actually gone into Claire's, like, very deep into Claire's sort of nature of her debate. Her focuses on logic. Her really I should say, strong belief in the importance of objective morality, which I don't fully deny. Okay. But Teo, I got a glancing shot, and you mostly focused on Claire. What is your problem with my style of debate and discussion?
I don't think you want to debate. I think you want a conversation.
Yeah, yeah, that is reasonably accurate. Debate is often a part of a conversation. Would you concede that?
Not debate as Claire means it.
Yeah, that's fair to say as well. That's fair to say as well. Like debate can sometimes be really formal. You prepare, you make arguments, there's structure, and that can be good. But
No, no,
I'm a bit more
not
freeform.
not just regarding the structure. I mean regarding the we are going to hold you accountable to the logic of your argument. Your
Mm,
style of conversation, and I'm not saying this is good or bad. I'm just telling you
okay.
your question. Your style of conversation is way more the uh
The spirit
way
of the thing.
exactly the spirit of the thing
Yeah,
than
yeah.
the logic of the argument. And Claire's whole shtick is that that's why she went on about Western men and them being pussies, for lack of better terms.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing: logic is not courage. Do we agree with that?
You can just say things. You can't just you say things that you actually agree with that. What do you mean by that?
Logic is not courage. And if we're talking about men needing to step up, like masculinity maybe does have more of an emphasis on logic than femininity. Masculinity also has an emphasis on courage more so than femininity. Look, these are just broad talking points. I'm not going to be held absolutely to them, I think. But what I'm getting at here is the intricate nature of a matter defies logical analysis in many cases. Now, I am capable of a fair amount of logic. I would like to think so. Okay. I'm not turning my back on it. I'm not disinterested. But one of the problems of logic is also definitions and words. So the spirit of the thing gets past that a little bit better.
Well, the
All right.
spirit of the
Hassle me
thing,
more, Teo. I need more.
it can do, but do you also agree that the spirit of the thing can allow for bullshit a lot,
Yeah,
even a lot easier than the more structured, as you put it, logical conversation slash debate?
sure. And that was very much my attitude when I was quite a bit younger. Say like I was a very logical kid, right? I really liked logic and thinking things through very carefully. I didn't like all this spirit crap. I hated this talk of spirits and spirituality. Like I was like, what are you talking about? Is this like some supernatural gross thing? Is this like the key to winning every argument? Invoke spirituality and be vague and you've won. You know what I mean, right, Teo?
Yeah, sure. I don't. I want you to land though again.
You want me to land? Okay. You know what I'm saying? You want me to land. Are you asking me why I focus on the spirit of the thing nowadays as opposed to the logic? Is that fair?
No, that was not my.
No. Correct me.
That's where we've gotten to. No,
Correct me, please.
I didn't have a question. I didn't ask a question. You're
You
telling
want
me
me to
to.
land though, so we want me to land on the topic in general, then
I
maybe.
want you to land so that I understand what it is you're asking me if I agree with.
Okay. I have to get personal about myself, I think. So,
Claire's not a fan of that.
well,
He's the one
she's
that
let me tell
yeah,
interesting stories about myself before, because I'm not just talking about, oh, my wife is calling. Sorry, Chris. My wife went on a vacation and she came back and she had a sunburn. Like you don't like those kinds of conversations, right, Claire? But you're fine with like a meaningful personal story, right?
Yes, yes, and you're going to use a personal anecdote to support your argument, and I'm all ears.
Oh, yes, wonderful. All right, so I've been hassling my local police station in person, by the way. Okay, they don't even pick up the phone if you call them. By the way, they're a fucking disgrace. My local police station, the Werribee Police Station. Give them a ring if you'd like to hassle them with me. But anyway, so I've been walking in there and trying to make complaints and trying to really get some action. And I don't use rhetoric that they recognize. I go in there and I'll say something like, do you understand there is a difference between the law and doing the right thing? And when you have the choice to do one or the other, I want you to really think about it. And they're like, what did you even say? I don't get it. But something about them, they're afraid. They're afraid of the power of what I'm really talking about. Okay? It's a good logical argument. You might have to choose between the law and what is right. Makes sense to me. Does it make sense to all of you? I'm going to guess yes. Another thing that I did, sort of holding up the mirror, is you guys give ultimatums all the time. I'd like you to respect my ultimatum. Two choice, a binary. And my ultimatum that I gave as one of the police examples of their behavior is stop or I'll shoot. That's a bloody ultimatum. That's a really serious ultimatum. And I want them to think about it. In fact, if they think about it, they might do the right thing where they would have done the wrong thing. And honestly, that's why I go with the spirit of the matter a lot more than logic, but I like to combine them. Yeah. And another thing that I do all the time, and it frustrates people immensely, but it also sticks in their craw. They can't forget it. They won't let it go. The slow blade that's meant to penetrate the shield. Get a resolution, get a change to happen. That's part of my agenda here, which is, look, if some crazy guy was just memorable enough, and the last thing he said to you was something like, what would you do? Would you shoot him? Or would you think about it? And in all honesty, there might be situations where the right thing to do is not to think about it, but to shoot him. But you cannot formalize that endlessly with law upon law upon law and detail upon detail upon detail and all of that. Because I know that's actually part of what drives modern police in Australia and in Victoria. Insane. The amount of confusing oversight, mixed regulations. What am I supposed to enforce here? Should I let this one go and forget about it? Okay. These are the real problems of where the rubber meets the road. And I think it's an interesting way of conducting oneself in order to generate change. Because I don't believe that debate should just be, and I don't think either of you guys do either, but I don't believe debate should just be about the theory and the argument. I think it should be about the follow-up action and change as well. So I think that covers it for now. Over to you guys.
Claire, your response?
My response is displayed in a comment,
Yes?
and is a quote from Seneca, who said, "The more the laws, the more corrupt the state."
Yep, that's feeling very true right now in my country.
And it is to cause doubt and confusion and making people think, well, it seems to say yes and no, and I'm not sure, and I'm not going to go ahead with this thing that I think I'm going to do because I don't think I'm going to win.
Yes.
Okay, Claire.
The,
Now wait, hold on, Claire. You've conceded. You have to make it make sense in your worldview.
Yeah, so the law should be clear, and so should the enforcement be clear, because you can see that the coppers, right? We're told to enforce this law, and we know what would happen to us if we, didn't do it or did something else. We have families too to support.
Okay, what's the law for making a law clear?
It's in the drafting. It's in the drafting and the interpretation, and sometimes people just want to muddy the waters to make people afraid.
That's not a law. That's basically the spirit. You're conceding a lot to Josh right now. That's the spirit of the thing, because the when you say it's in the drafting, what is in the drafting?
It's the intention of Parliament. What was Parliament hoping to achieve by passing this law? And the intentions could be malign. We're going to muddy the waters and make people scared to use a law as a solution to their problem, because they might, even if you're Mr. Moneybags, you don't want to spend a whole lot of money and not get the result you want.
Okay, if the intentions of the law can be aligned, you're conceding that that's a possibility. Then that means that the subjects always have the card to play of saying, I'm not going to follow this law because this.
Or Robert, you're roboting.
yeah, sorry, Tay, you've gone bad.
What a shame.
What a shame. I agree. You were getting somewhere, man.
Wait, maybe you can start again, Teo, because we can hear you again.
No, it's gone. I don't remember what it was I was responding to anyway.
Sorry.
But the point is that the law should be clear so people know their rights. It's, ask any first year law student.
Yeah, Australians are actually in a very dire situation with regard to how clear our rights are anymore.
You have no rights.
Well, also we have conditional. Well, a lot of our rights are expressed as such. At the discretion of the authority figure involved, you have rights until they decide you don't.
But the thing is, with Australians, the British government didn't even bother getting their story straight, because, the Governor General, the position of the Governor General, it's there. It's a colonial appointment, and
It is.
you know what happened in the
With the
1975
Whitlam
constitutional
government, yes.
crisis. Yes, so I was talking to this Australian lawyer, and he freaked out. He really hated me for saying that. It really
What?
upset him, because he was saying, "Oh, it won't happen again." It's like, how do you know it won't happen again? How do you know that some elected properly elected Australian Prime Minister can't be removed at the behest of the Governor General, answering only to the British Crown?
Hmm.
None of that has changed.
I think we've lost Teo, but to talk to what you're discussing, I believe in clarity of the law. I want the law to be so clear that anyone can argue within a legal context, and it's not all tied up in endless procedure, bits of Latin, overly wordy nonsense. I just want that era of the law gone and dead. I would love a bit of clear objectivity. Let's call it that anyway. At the law here in Australia, really fundamental principles, very clearly stated and very idealistically held to by
Yes,
everyone concerned.
yes, and the problem, I'm afraid, is that you can have the most perfect set of laws saying everything clearly, but if you don't have men prepared to defend these laws, you might as well
Or
not
fight
even
them.
bother.
Defend or fight them. Yes.
It means
Yes.
defend them by any means necessary. And, and I think the most important principle is that men no longer understand that they have no choice but to um, defend the principle of being men to the death,
Mm,
because men are still expected to defend their territory, um, and solve problems, and
mm,
yeah, defend principles. And if you have
mm.
none, and how can you have principles if you don't have a religion, an official religion
Ah,
that Australians can say, we are Australians, and Australians, we follow these principles
well, you
because
have a pretty good point there, actually. So, Australian irreligiosity has culminated in this era. Yeah, that's one element of what has happened. I kind of agree with you. I don't think we're in for a Christian revival or a Islamic takeover or or the Jews holding a lot of sway, despite the Royal Commission into anti-Semitism. I think what's going to happen here is something new. Now do you start to understand why I'm so focused on the new?
yes, I think my idea is new too.
Okay.
But I think the key lies in having codified principles. And
See,
codified principle,
I
do you know
really
what
don't
they
have
are?
much of a problem there, so long as there is enough flexibility and enough ability to build even newer stuff without it all turning into endless mumbo jumbo and complexity, and it's never clear who's in charge and all of that rubbish. Like I believe in like absolutely clear cut leadership. At least as part of my political formula, and that being one of its advantage is the clarity. Um, Furthermore, with law and like a really excellent thing of law, like what if the Constitution was beautiful ideals expressed in a single page that anyone could read?
This was what the plebeians of Rome asked for. They asked for their rights to be carved into tablets of stone in the forum, because they didn't have books. So whenever they wanted to start a legal action, they would have to go to the forum and read it, and they were in the 12 tablets of Rome.
And the law was usually about taking an action there and then not meant to stand the test of time. Now, wasn't it?
I didn't understand what you were saying, but I think, I mean, obviously, it didn't withstand the founding of the Roman Empire, because at the time, the time I'm talking about was Republican Rome, and
Okay, okay.
obviously, a lot of the problems of Republican Rome were with the plebs, right? And and Rome at the time also had labor problems,
Mm,
because when the plebs didn't like how they were being treated by the patricians, they would decamp and leave Rome and
mm,
camp outside the city, leaving the patricians to clean their own toilets or whatever. And
mm,
eventually, some patrician would come, running to them and say, "We're sorry, come back, we'll give you more rights."
mm.
And then eventually, they even got a tribune, and a tribune was the leader of the plebs,
Okay,
entrusted
so
to represent the interests of the Roman working class.
okay, so my response here is, and I just want to make clear the point that I was making earlier. When you're making laws, too many at a time, in response to every crisis or political event, they can't stand the test of time. They're not designed to. Do you see what I mean by that?
So we want eternal and universal laws that
Ah.
have the most agreement. It's like, yeah, any civilized country would have laws against murder, robbery, and rape. You know,
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. I can
yeah,
agree
yeah.
with
We
that.
want things like that are obvious and not going to be argued about.
Sure. Um, Someone's read me right. I just want something new. I just want to be king of the world. I mean, sure, whatever. Um, Further, to actually get back to what we were talking about, the law has a very complicated issue with regard to obviously interpretation and all of that. But let's talk about the authority problem here. Okay, so you need authority to act on the basis of the law.
Law
Does that sort of,
enforcement.
You could say that. I'm also thinking about the judiciary. Like, we always give the judge all this respect. We refer to them as Your Honor. And I'm one of the kinds of people who is very much about what comes out of my mouth should be honest, like, even if it sucks. And I really started thinking at one point, how can I possibly refer to this stranger called a magistrate as Your Honor when I have seen so much awfulness come from the society and the legal system that is supposed to confer honor on this stranger who I am instantly supposed to refer to as Your Honor. I just was really afraid of the fact that, like, I might get up and one day and be in front of a magistrate and I just start say, Your Honor, I can't do it. That's a funny thing. MFers just love the sound of their own voice. Yeah, sure. You don't. I don't even know you, T Street PZ Sog.
It's Teo.
Oh, that's Teo.
Hmm.
All right.
Okay, so let's
Well,
get
he
back to
seems
the
to have
so.
quit in disgust rather than because of connection problems. I don't know, mate.
It doesn't matter. We can continue the discussion about laws. So, basically, for the government to work properly, the people have to trust the government, and they have forfeited their trust because we don't think they mean well for us. We think they're incompetent and corrupt, and furthermore, we think they are chosen precisely because they are corrupt and incompetent.
Yes, I kind of agree at this point. I mean, it's really hard to deny. There's a really nasty hidden secret element playing games with who our political leadership is.
Well, I'm saying they're all pre-chosen, right? They're chosen
Yeah.
because they are corrupt. Okay,
Mm.
they might go to the right schools, they might have a full head of
Yes.
hair, which is, what will appeal to the ladies who want, their prime minister to be good looking and in his 40s. And,
Mhm.
so it's all pre-selected to appeal to the average female voter who doesn't give a damn about foreign policy, who doesn't give a shit about history, and who doesn't want to argue about it because her easily bruised feelings will be easily bruised. So she's not
Mm.
going to talk about anything controversial. And furthermore, she will forbid her husband from talking about these things, even though he's paying for it, right?
Mm.
And he'll obey. You know
Mhm.
why? Because because of the rules of no fault divorce. Any wife can just say, "Well, I've had
Well, I'm
enough."
done with you, mate. I want half your stuff and never see you again.
So
Yeah.
I'm saying this is something that is actionable under U.S. law
Mm.
because they have the First Amendment and they can, in theory anyway, sue for apply for judicial review for the infringement of their First Amendment rights. They could do
Mm.
that in theory, but of course, the big obstacle is getting all these American husbands to say that they're afraid of their wives divorcing them if they
Mm.
expressed opinions that their wives disliked,
Mm.
right? But you could actually find husbands who have been divorced by their wives who threatened to divorce them if they voted for Trump and
Mm.
mount a class action, right?
Mm.
And say,
That's an
because of what
interesting
you
thought.
did. Hmm?
I'm saying that's an interesting thought. A class action of men against women.
Of men against no fault divorce. Because,
Oh yeah, okay. We can refine it to that. That's fair.
once upon a time, divorce had to be fault based. But over time,
Mm.
the American government basically you know, allowed no fault divorce. And this
Mm.
is now the situation. And this explains why all the men in the TLC are so neurotic. They can't get to the point. They're terrified of saying what they really mean
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
and obviously, actually, probably their wives are, okay with them, talking to their internet friends, and occasionally
Mm.
they'll, dip in and see what, hubby is saying.
No one
But
has you
they're
back.
terrified of saying anything to,
Yeah.
upset their
No
wives.
one has you back if you want to stand your ground against your wife or your partner and say no, no. No one has your back anymore. Like that's a bit of an exaggeration, you could say,
No, it's true
but like,
because it's such. They are ashamed. They are ashamed at the position they now find themselves in. And it's not just people at the bottom, it's people at the top. Because, if you're Trump and Melania divorces
Hmm.
you, it's a disaster. It will lower you in status. It happened to Putin, actually, but he got over it.
Oh, did
But,
he? Oh, I didn't even hear about that.
mhm.
One of the only people with the power to damage him. Isn't that funny?
yeah. So,
And the
so I'm
great
saying
Putin.
I'm saying, a lot of American husbands are in denial, or they would
Hmm.
be too ashamed to even admit it, and that's why they just go on and on about nothing, afraid to get to the point. I'm afraid that
Hmm.
that must be the problem, and it
Yeah.
is, American Gnosticism, American neurosis, and I think they just have to admit, I think they're too afraid to say how afraid they are,
That
because.
also rings true to me.
uh,
Okay. Okay. You'll also notice that we had far more communication troubles with Teo in the mix than you and I.
Well, it's what do you call it? Group dynamics. But now we're having a
Yeah, and
smoother
also delay
conversation.
and all of that. And Teo
Mhm.
has always had a real problem with the way that I dominate conversations, even group or one on one. It doesn't matter. Teo doesn't speak much compared to me. What if that's his personality traits? But whatever, whatever. Um, I think you brought up this topic of in private. Let's not get too specific here. I think in general, like let's this is of interest to us, and we might as well speak it in public because you're bringing up your issues with the TLC, right?
Mhm.
So I have issues with the TLC, obviously, even though I kind of am jumping in. And one of my issues are pretty similar to a lot of what you're saying. It's like a lot of waffle, sometimes a lot of waffle, a lot of repetition, a lot of comfy Christians being comfy with other comfy Christians, but not challenging each other on anything substantive. And when they do challenge, they say, you believe such and such dogma, I believe other dogma. Ha ha ha. We don't really want to fight. But like it's like, well, where are you going? Because you certainly fight me when I show up and start talking about the Urantia. And like again, I am a lot more strategic and cunning. I shouldn't be too cunning now. But I'm a lot more strategic in a lot of the things that I do in the conversations and debates in which I engage, by text or in person or over this format. So, bringing up your answer, you said it had all these problems of like no one knows what it is, but that's an advantage as well. No one knows what it is. They don't know what they're in for. Okay, people take a very quick glance at the Wikipedia article or like one passage or one single paper, and they go, "Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's New Age bullshit." Some ultra Catholic guy dismissed it as Protestant nonsense, and he was big on his theology. I'm like, dude, you've got no fucking idea. This is not Protestantism. Anyway, Protestants don't make extravagant claims about a much larger universe, spiritually speaking, and how good it really gets, and the sequential nature of heaven from world to world, and get into specifics. Really, really out there claims, but that's what I respect about that book. The claims are specific and out there. And Claire, I swear to you, there's a lot of facts and logic in Urantia. Okay, that book is chock full of facts and logic, stuff you can't get elsewhere. Like, what are the orders of angels? There's types of angels and numbers, the amounts of angels in that order, and the way in which they're assigned to different, shall we say, jurisdictions. Like all sorts of stuff. It's just a theme park of theology if you really engage with it. Okay. It's so interesting. And I get Christians coming back to me. Look, this kind of sounds like a debate we settled 300 years ago or whatever. Like, I don't know. It seems all right. It seems a bit new agey to me. I'm like, dude, come the fuck on. Um, my petty revenge for finding the Bible insufferable at times and not finishing it and only reading parts of it is to also only read parts of Urantia and still show up and bring it up and try and get them to read it, expecting them to refuse, as they always tend to do, especially at the start. but at least I'm being slightly original. Like, Urantia is someone else's work, sure. But even my interpretations of what it's really saying, you could call original to me, right? And furthermore, I was told in a very lovely way by someone on Bridges of Meaning, a woman actually, an older woman. She was saying, in very complimentary fashion, how things that I said and the way that I said them really ignited in her own sort of new ideas and ways of relating it to experiences she had, relationships which she had. Maybe this feels a little bit too like veering into that trivial personal territory, but believe me, it's one of the best conversations I've had today. This is a pretty good conversation too, but it has been more difficult and hostile. Not as if you're making it hostile, Claire. What I mean is, like, there was Teo having a go at some of us. We were getting really contentious and debatey, which does have its limits. But essentially, like, in the end, Teo left. Like, he couldn't handle going any further. And that happens, unfortunately, too often. But you know what? That's the flip side of us all being in the comfy online therapy sort of group. And you know what? Therapy also requires confrontation at the right time. Go, Claire. I've been monologuing for quite a while.
Well, I'll try to be fair to Teo. Maybe he has, something else to
Yes.
do than listen to us. And he did engage and ask a few questions. And
Yes.
I guess, our beef would be, well, prove to me that the book of Urantia is going to be adopted by Australians. Are Australians more likely to become Urantists or
Well, I
adopt?
wouldn't even call it urantist. That's a shitty word. Anyway, it sounds like urine. That's part of the problem, right? I know that. And I still bring it up. Anyway, with Australians, yeah, I think you could get. I'm not going to say a rancher-based movement, but you could get a spiritual movement here that is very genuinely new, and you can call it a cult or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. And I mean, in Australia, a cult is defined by its tax status. Um,
Okay. So you want to do it the hard way. I mean, I just
I
want to
love
be
the hard way.
government consultant consulted on the matter of implementing secular Quranism. That's all
Okay.
I want to be. I mean, I want to be helpful to the government. I don't want to start my own cult. And,
I'm really not saying I want to start a cult here either. Again, the subtlety sometimes gets lost. I don't want to be a government consultant, though. They wouldn't have me. That's not an option that's a part of my life possibilities. So I pursue my own path.
I'll say government consultant to
Sure.
make them understand the humility of my position. I do
Okay.
want to help them, and I know I can't do what I want without it being, government policy. And should
Mhm.
it ever become government policy, I'm just there to help.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Me, I mean, as we know, I've got that hard ambition, king of the world, whatever. It's not even what it's not even what it sounds like. I mean, that was one of Teo's parting shots to me, essentially. I just want something new equals I just want to be king of the world. But here's my comeback. And Claire, you might actually start getting behind this. Isn't Jesus the king of the world?
I
According
don't.
to the Christians, anyway.
I don't. Well, they say Christ is king, but then we
Hmm.
have to ask for the date and place of the coronation, and then
Yeah,
they'll all run away.
hell yeah, Claire. Where is he? Where is he?
And who crowned him?
And who crowned him? These are questions that I also am very interested in. They're Christian related questions, but I ask them in a fairly unchristian fashion. Um, like, who is this person? Jesus Christ. Who
I
is
have a
he?
theory.
Oh,
I think Jesus was a divine practical joke played on idolaters.
Sorry, that's funny. I that's funny. Not that he's a joke, but rather that he is that you yeah. Ah, sorry. That one really got me, Claire. I hope you got a smile out of watching me laugh. Please tell me you
Yes.
did.
Yes, of
Good, good.
course. Thank you for receiving my little theory so well. We have Collective Dismal, who is a bit of a star. I
Hello.
don't know. Have you heard of him?
I have no idea. Hello, sir.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, Claire? Thank you. No, I heard your guys' stream last night. It was pretty good. I guess you're doing
Thank
the
you.
second one. Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
good.
Oh, there's three now, including this one, right, Claire?
Yes.
There was the awkward one where I had the audio problems and we had another guest. Um, uh, and now I would love to talk with you, Collective Dismal. Please introduce yourself.
Well, funnily enough, I'm here because I just tried to do a live stream on my own and I was having audio problems and it shit out twice, so I'm not gonna try my luck a third time. I just figured I would intrude on your conversation because it's
Well,
the first thing I saw here after getting demoralized by my own audio.
actually, I haven't even checked. What kind of view numbers are we getting, Claire?
Well, it's seven at the moment, so I don't know. See, Dismal, have you told your followers to come here?
Ooh.
Maybe they will get
I
more.
have a channel. I have a channel on YouTube that I no longer can access because I
Oh,
somehow the password that's supposed to work doesn't work, and it
Hmm.
has almost 1,000 subs. But now I have to use this one, and it's not very big.
uh huh.
Hmm.
Oh well.
This was just kind of like
But
an
it's great that
impromptu
they're talking to
topic.
us.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm glad someone new has come in.
Okay, I need to
I
step
was
away for a
listening to
while.
you guys
So,
like an hour ago, and then I stepped away to do my own thing, and that failed miserably. So I don't know what you were talking about. I heard you
Claire, what
talking
were you
about
saying?
debates. I could weigh in on that, but you
Well,
guys
I
can't
think
speak
Claire
on
was
it.
saying, CD, I think Claire,
I'm
tell
stepping
it was,
away.
yeah,
So please talk among between yourselves. But I'll be listening.
thanks. Wonderful. Thank you. Collective Dismal. I got to ask now, what have you been enjoying about our conversations?
I
Me and
was
Claire.
disagreeing with some of Claire's opinions about debate and
Mm.
the fruitfulness of them. I'm
Yeah.
not a big fan of debates.
Okay. We don't, well, then let's not have one.
Well, I'll get into a debate, but I just don't think that they lead to the best like transfer of information, the best kind of learning.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between discussions and debates, and I think the latter is kind of more sport like and competitive, and it kind of dampens the actual like rigor of the arguments, if that makes sense.
Actually, in a way, like, so in competitive debate, your arguments are designed to attack and defend. In conversation, your arguments are meant to exist freely and you can interconnect them between the people involved.
Yes, I think people that become very proficient at debates, it almost becomes a skill unto itself that's kind
Mm.
of like extraneous to the truth or like the real veracity or the merits of the arguments, and it just becomes more of like who's more quick-witted, who's more
Yeah.
off the cuff and stuff like that.
Who's funnier? Who gets in the insult at the right moment?
Yeah, for example, like I think I have a lot better arguments than somebody like Jay Dyer. I think I could, if we were to have like a
Ah.
written back and forth, I think I could probably trash his worldview. But in a debate, I don't know as I would fare so well. He's very good at just kind of uh, applying these logic trees at the right time, and he's has a lot of experience with it and whatnot. So I don't
Hmm.
think the best man always wins in a debate. I think a lot of
Nope.
times they kind of
And also, the
favor
best
the.
man doesn't concede enough. I don't even sort of like one of the most important things about debate would be genuine concession. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, someone has mentioned that you were on Millennial. I have a little bit of familiarity with Millennial, though I don't remember you.
I went on it, I think, 3 years ago. How the time flies. He
Mm.
invited me on, and we had a really good discussion. I think I was a little bit of uh, different guest, I guess, than what he usually features on there. But
Mm.
he kind of fell out with me after the fact,
Okay, that's unfortunate.
so
Like,
I
there's a
got
lot of falling
interrupted.
out in that scene. Like, I don't even know if millennial should be called dissident, right? But it's sort of adjacent. But yeah, so much falling out over all sorts of things, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was just over a Twitter post. I mean, I think I said I don't care about like the problems in Europe or something like that, and it was sort of taken out of context. And
Mm.
he made this post about me. He's like, everybody disavow this guy, and
Oh,
started
really? Fuck.
grandstanding. Yeah,
Ouch.
I'm not a big fan of millennial woes.
Okay.
He was
Well,
cordial when I talked to him. He's a nice enough guy, but
yeah. I mean, I have massive fallings out in the dissident right, probably with a lot of people you don't even know. But it wasn't very public. In fact, I tried to make it public, and they didn't let me. It's hard to explain, but yeah. Like I had to confront Dave. Well, had to. I chose to confront Dave, the distributorist, about some of the goings on in the behind the scenes of basket weaving, and he didn't want to talk to some random guy at all. And we had a bit of a fight about it. And yeah, yeah, I'm not on good terms with Dave.
I'm
Ironically,
seeing. I'm sorry. Sorry.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Ironically, I still watched the distributor since that debate, actually quite a bit, just because I think he is an interesting thinker, but he's also just incredibly bitter all the time about all the things that he can't control.
Yeah, of course. Uh, I'm somewhat viewed as a bit of a pariah with a lot of those guys because I acknowledge most of what they say, but at the
Mm,
same time I level a lot of like intra racial criticisms against the white race, like about the genetic distribution and how I think it's led to a lot of the problems that they identify. I think a lot of the kind of interracial conflicts are downstream from the sort of degradation of the white gene pool and things like that. And I bring up some of these points, and
mm.
they're not
I hear it.
considered very favorably.
Mm. I actually think you have something of a point. Uh, in addition to that, I find the out and out white supremacy sometimes as a joke, sometimes quite serious. It's not. It's not for me. I dabbled with it, but I ultimately have come to not just so. Even at the time, I was engaged with the dissident right. I wasn't really fully about this white race shall conquer all type stuff. Like whatever, they were more subtle about it, but like yeah. But what I arrived at quite a while after properly leaving them is like actually like I always wanted the best for everyone, right? And uh, I think that a lot of our problems are like where do we fit together as different races? And you could argue for hierarchy, but I am just did you catch the discussion of the concept of harmony, CD?
I don't believe I know what you're referring to. No.
Okay. Okay. So Claire and I were discussing harmony as a concept, as a solution to some problems. I consider it one of the best ways of tackling the issues of race, as well as other things, right? Harmony, to my mind, is more real and accomplishable and preferable to the equality notion. Does that sound reasonable to you?
Equality is kind of measuring all different races under a universal standard.
No,
Like,
equality
do you
as in
mean
trying
kind
to
of
pretend there
measuring
is no
them?
difference, or equality as in trying
Yeah.
to like just pretend these things are going to be interchangeable, pretending these things are of in some cases equal quality or worth. Um, but where it really gets problematic that old word, with the equality notion is just it's leading down a path that is mathematical, as in quality means same. You see what I mean? and it's
Yeah,
just not true.
like a
Okay.
flattening out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't reflect human nature. It doesn't reflect all kinds of important things. Um, and the harmony argument is more like, and I know a bit about harmony as a musician. Harmony does not say this note is unimportant, this note is important, this note is really important. Like it says that a bit, but it's also very much the process of making all notes matter in a role that is appropriate. Okay? You can
Yep, I'm
disagree or
following.
agree according to whatever you believe.
I have some pretty, I guess, what would be considered extreme views on like proposed solutions to the matters. I guess even by like far right standards, they would consider me kind of a bit too off the rails. But I don't believe in like cruelty for sure. I don't believe in
I can agree to that.
yeah, I don't believe in degradation of people and things like that.
No, I again, I agree with that.
I think that one of the things that I caught a lot of flack for from white supremacists is that even if you kind of agree with them, yeah, historically we have managed all of these remarkable feats, and we've
Yes.
kind of ascended to a level of ingenuity that has like paled everybody else by comparison. It's
Hmm.
not it's not intrinsic. It's not due to any intrinsic value that we possess. It's something that maybe was won out through, you could say, like years of evolution, or if you subscribe to that, or the way that we practice law and punishment
Hmm.
and things. And now that that's gone by the wayside for pretty much 100 years now,
Hmm.
we no longer really have the gene pool to boast of any
Hmm.
kind of like supremacist creed. It's been kind of polluted to an extent, and there's a lot of kind of intra-racial problems that I don't think Wignats or white nationalists really address. Like they're very out-group focused, which
I
I
mean,
don't
that's the
dismiss
stupider
any of
ones.
their.
There are smarter ones, actually. There are smarter ones I've come across who actually say a lot of what you're saying.
Usually, when they will admit this, though, they'll pull this very cheeky move where they'll say these people would have otherwise been very productive, very good people, but they've been brainwashed or they've been
Ah.
kind of demoralized to go against their interests, rather than just saying there is a growing underclass of dysgenic white people.
Hmm.
And
Unfortunately, I
I
see what you
mean, I
mean.
would, yeah, I would probably call them like useless eaters to an extent. I think a lot of them were just born from the baby boom and from burning the candle at both ends for 100 years straight with capitalism and
Hmm.
medical innovations and things like this, and certain groups of people lobbying against this kind of eugenics policies that we had prior to the war in America. And
Can I say one thing, and then I'd actually like to engage with live chat? Is that cool with you?
yeah, of course.
So, believe it or not, the Book of Urantia. You have heard me bring that up, right?
Yes, in passing, yes. I'm not competent to speak on it.
Okay. Okay. So I will say that of all spiritual books, there are some sensible, perhaps sensible discussions of eugenics in the Book of Urantia, amongst all the spiritual matters and everything else. Just throwing that
Interesting.
out
And
there.
when was it written?
Well, that's a really interesting claim. It was written, I'm going to say, between the 1920s and the 1950s. It was quite the
Okay,
project
beautiful. Yeah.
in America.
Yeah, I'm
So the
very
concept
into
of
that strand of like American eugenics. I think the Nazis, they kind of overly romanticized this notion and appropriating it. They kind of took it off its like rightful kind of transatlantic liberal like scientific footing, and they framed it in a much more romanticized
hmm,
way that I'm not as big a fan of.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I think I understand where you're coming from there, and I have some, yeah. Uh, to just take a moment to sell you just a little more on your answer, because it sounds like you've got the faintest glimmering of an interest.
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah, I'm always
So
interested.
I told you that it was created between about the 1920s to the 1950s, like a 30-year roughly project. Okay, the
Sure.
backstory to this book is pretty wild. Okay, and it will challenge your ability to believe it or not. Okay, it's one of those. It's Ripley's Believe It or Not, Book of Your Antje.
All
So,
right, I'm following. Yeah.
so one of the cool things that's going on here is that it unabashedly claims spiritual authority, and these are celestial beings literally writing the essays, the papers contained therein, and they have been transferred from upstairs to you guys down there in America. Okay? Now, how this happened is a bit mysterious. And there are very deliberate reasons for the mystery. They did not want to create a cult with a weird, bizarre focus on prophetic leader. That was a deliberate choice. That was actually more so the choice of the beings who were upstairs, shall we say, the celestial beings, the angelic beings, whatever you want to call them. They chose that, and they helped to develop the series of events in such a way that the people on the other end of the phone down here on Earth in America in the 1920s to the 50s, it might have started a bit earlier than the 20s actually, but that you can check those details for yourself if you're interested. And
I'll definitely
so,
be looking into it.
yeah, it's available in full for free online, well organized. Okay.
Do you know
Okay.
roughly how many pages it is, or?
It is longer than the Bible. It is really
Okay.
intense.
Yeah, yeah.
But okay, it is divided very nicely by topic and chapter. It is actually beautifully organized. So much better organized than the Bible. I'll just claim that straight out. Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing that I'll say is that it is Christian-esque. That's my sort of cheeky way of
Yeah, as
describing.
most things like in that kind of genre do tend to lean a little bit Christian.
Yeah, it gets misinterpreted as New Age, but it's a bit firmer on certain matters than the New Age, and also it's
Yeah.
making way more factual and logical claims than I think the New Age generally does.
Yeah, a little more rigor.
Yes, like a term that springs to mind for me is it has been written with precision, a lot of it, and as you read, you will see what I mean. That doesn't mean it doesn't have poetic flourishes and all sorts of other things, but it is okay, it's time to engage with the chat. You ready? Because people
Oh,
are
you can't leave me
having a go.
hanging on a cliff. You can't leave me just
Okay,
hanging
well,
on a cliff like that.
maybe I can. Well, let's come back to it. All right, just ask me questions later. I just gotta answer to the chat. All right.
All right.
Okay, so Othello L. Sid says, Urantia Foundation is New Age despite Josh not liking the categorical distinction for his brand of esoteric cultism. Oh, boy.
I mean, whether it is or it isn't, the work
I would say even if it is New Age, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be so easily dismissed by that category. What I'm also saying is Urantia Foundation is neither here nor there. It's about the book. The book is the focus. And you could create something new agey out of that book. You could also create something a bit more better than New Age. This is better. Who cares?
New
like New
Agers
Age is
steal
kind
a
of,
lot. They steal and appropriate a lot of thinkers too. They're really
yeah,
down for
yeah.
that.
Wolf Slumber is trying to mock the level of viewership. Like, this is more viewers than I can get on my channel if I live stream. I mean, I'll take it. Also, guys, remember the rewatch people. The rewatch people, right? Yeah, I'm one of the rewatch types. What else have we got here? Urantia, contemporary, and Rosicrucianism, modern, share several thematic philosophical overlaps, though they differ in specific origin, structure, and emphasis. I don't know much about Rosicrucianism, and that's my answer to that. You've been a little bit disagreed with. Again, it's still Othello El Cid. Nature knows no color line. Race is an 18th century German Enlightenment natural science concept adopted by civics law for social Darwinism eugenics. Ethnicity is not synonymous with race. So these are definitional problems. But really, mate, what we're talking about here is genetic quality, which is real, which is a genuine thingamabob. That discussion of the history of terms does not erase.
Even if I concede that it's kind of like a social construct or it's just a contrived category, I would still retain the category for pragmatic reasons. It obviously has a lot of explanatory usefulness to taxonomize humans like this, so I don't view that as like a reason to throw the whole notion out.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, CD. So we're getting more from the chat. We'll stick with chat until they say something good. So Othello El Cid says precision was used for New Age Mormonism, Adventism, Jehovah Witness, Pentecostal, OTO/AA. I don't even know what that is. Golden Dawn, Gnostic Church, etc., etc., etc. Look, I don't want your answer to be your New Age anymore. I want a New Age for the New Age your answer. Like I'm fond of that sort of fun. But what I'm getting at here, guys, is do you want to try something that does not get bogged down in the same old theological arguments? Because I did. I really did. Not only is Urantia refreshing in its declarations about theological arguments, it is also quite happy to provide wiggle room and detail that is also lacking in strict biblical Christian stuff. Whatever. Moving right along. Wolf Slumbers in 1991 says race mixing is based if you are a white man and cringe if you are a white woman. White women. You screwed up the plural there, but I mean we all make mistakes. So what do you think, CD?
I don't agree per se
Okay.
with that. I mean, there may be a little bit of truth to that, but I don't want to like get crazy on Claire's channel.
That's fine. Look,
I'm
I do
not.
believe in respecting Claire.
I
And
have
Claire, you're
very
welcome
strong.
to scold us when you come back, or let us know if we step over the line. And that's a fine thing to say, CD. Let's ignore the chat now because they're becoming boring again. CD, ask away. You wanted more.
What was I just about to head off in that line of thought? Oh, you were talking about looking for more. You were saying if people are looking for more. I started binge watching a lot of Jason Giorgiani's videos lately.
I don't know who that is. Tell me more.
You don't know Jason Giorgiani?
Nope.
So Jason Giorgiani was one of these guys that organized Unite the Right with Richard Spencer, and I guess he's
Oh,
like kind of lesser known for that, but
okay.
he sort of reinvented himself as, I guess he's like in the alien, like the UFO disclosure
Oh,
community. He's
that's
kind
the
of
name.
taken it over, and I was never that
Huh.
into that stuff, to be honest.
I'm curious about it
But
personally.
I'm I'm not really a supernatural guy, but I'll say
Yeah.
I've seen a couple things in this guy that were kind of fucked up. I'm not even
Okay.
gonna like try to be that guy or whatever, but I don't agree with like a lot of what he says. But the thing that's very interesting to him is he brings an extremely high level of philosophical knowledge and understanding to it, which I don't think really existed in that community prior. he's an incredibly well-read guy and very
Wow.
intelligent.
This
He kind of weaves in these concepts in a really interesting way. I don't
so
agree with like he's like big into like astral projection and
uh
remote viewing
so
and stuff, which I don't really buy into that, but at the same
oh,
time, this guy he does like 3 hour podcasts where he's just riffing. Like he's a really interesting.
okay, cool. So my
I'm
answer
not
to
bought
that,
in, but he's a lot of fun to listen to. I'm not like necessarily buying what he's selling, but he's like a
yeah,
really
yeah. No, I've had YouTube relationships like that. I'm not buying what's being sold, but I like it, like the experience.
yeah.
Okay, so my response, and we were sort of talking about Urantia before, and boy howdy, does what you just said tie into Urantia. So Urantia is like a spiritual cosmology textbook. Okay, at least that's part of what you could describe it as. It's trying to unify the magnitude of the universe, a bunch of stuff the Christians got right, a bunch of stuff that's basically aliens, a bunch of stuff that is the very, very complex interplay between natural evolution on this planet and divine intervention in many forms, but far more concrete than like God does a thing. More like emissaries that appear at the right time as part of the process of uplifting this planet, like all sorts of stuff like that, right? Um, the supernatural element is wonderfully well integrated with the scientific element of the kinds of discussions that happen in the Urantia book. Okay, so I used to be very suspicious of the concept of supernatural things, especially when I was younger. Now, not so much. But what you realize is it's the spirit of the thing. Or to put it in other words, the supernatural is not about making objects levitate with your mind, okay? So much as an incredibly subtle guiding hand that sometimes just becomes unmistakable as something is creating this to happen. What do you think of that, CD?
I think you kind of. I don't want to be rude. I think you kind
No,
of
go
lost
ahead.
me there, my friend. I think you kind of lost me there, my friend.
Well, part of the problem is also you haven't read the book that I'm referring to, so you have got no idea what
Yeah,
I'm drawing
it went
upon.
over my head. I was genuinely trying to listen, but
You can be a bit verbose sometimes.
Of
no, I
course.
don't think it was on his end. I just it sort of flew over my head.
Okay. Well, ask me some questions, or we can move to another topic now that Claire is back. Welcome back.
I got
Yes,
7% on my phone before I got to charge it,
That's all good,
but
man.
then
appreciate it.
we'll
Yeah.
talk about whatever CD wants to talk about because he's a
Yes,
guest.
Edie.
Oh,
Yeah, go right ahead.
I just popped in to hang out. What I don't want to steer the conversation to anything.
Okay.
I'm very I don't know. I'm very like maybe overly tentative on other
Hmm.
people's platforms because I just when I do my own thing, I kind of go off the rails with
Mm.
stuff. But I don't know.
Has
I don't
Josh
know
said
what.
anything you agree with?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of his views.
Hmm.
I popped on because like I said, I was listening to you guys last night, and he seemed kind of cordial. Like some of your guests, no offense, they're kind of hit or miss, but he used a good one, so I was like, yeah,
No, yes, I thought so too.
Thank you both.
yeah.
Mm.
I was just
It's
trying to.
unusual to get this degree of focus and intelligence in in the dissident, right? Because I think
Thank
Josh
Yeah,
you.
actually wants to do something. He actually wants to
I
do
do.
something. He doesn't
I
just want to be
do.
a YouTuber.
That's right.
I was trying to live stream about my experience like the other day. I think I almost died. I'm in China and I got a really bad case of salmonella from some wet market eggs.
Ah.
And I think I was almost literally about to die. And I
Whoa.
sort of
Okay, that's
wanted to.
big, man.
You poor
Yeah,
thing.
it was big. It was big, yeah.
I know the feeling of feeling like you're about to die. I've had it more than once. It's a big feeling.
I was always like a very big euthanasia advocate. Like that's kind of one of my main things is I advocate for euthanasia. But
Mm.
after that experience, I was like tenfold in support of it. I'm like, if I had to live like that for even like 2 weeks, I would want someone to end my life. I've
Wow.
never felt like that before. It was unfucking real.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Wow.
I had
Yeah.
shellfish poisoning, and I literally was as weak as a kitten, and slept 24 hours just to get over it.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I dropped 20, 25 pounds in a day.
Hmm. Oh, and the
My
waves of pain.
equilibrium was gone. I couldn't even orient myself in space. I felt like I was just floating. Like my whole equilibrium was gone. I couldn't even walk.
Mm.
It was a fucking surreal experience.
Oh, you
Would you
didn't
would you
spend
even
the
call it?
time in bed?
No, I was in the hospital. I was in the hospital for a day, and
Oh,
then yeah, I was sick for another day. It was crazy.
Can I ask? Would you describe an aspect of the experience as a spiritual or spiritual like experience?
It definitely makes you appreciate things that you wouldn't even consider,
Sure.
like just taking a solid poop or being able to drink water.
Yeah.
You're like
Yeah.
unbelievably grateful. You're unbelievably grateful for being able to just drink water or take a solid poop after something like that.
That totally reminds me of a big food poisoning incident I once had. The gratitude of being able to taste water and use it to help me get through it. That was big. And my first taste of a drink that wasn't water, lemonade, actually at like a restaurant. I was coming home from like a camp. It's a long story, but basically that the taste of that lemonade was about the best lemonade it's ever tasted to me.
Oh my God, yeah. I had an orange juice and I was like, I couldn't even believe how grateful I was to drink that.
And I'm guessing it was just ordinary hospital orange juice, right?
Yeah, pretty much, but it was really good. I couldn't even drink water, so I would just throw it up instantly, and
Yeah.
I was so dehydrated,
Mhm.
just
Sucks.
sweating the pounds off, and then yeah, they hooked me up to an IV, and it wasn't hydrating me properly, and so I started feeling even worse, and I asked to leave the hospital, and they were like, "No, you can't, you have to wait till your IV's done," and I was like, "Fuck it, just throw it out, like I gotta get out of here." So the nurse took a syringe and she drew the water out of the bag. It was like a third of the bag too. It was a huge one. And then she took the part that was like hooked up to my hand and just
Mm.
injected the water straight in, and it hurt so
Whoa.
bad. I thought it blew my
Whoa.
vein out. I thought it blew my
Whoa.
vein out.
Damn, man. That's a
Hospitals in
story.
China, they're very effective, but it's almost like being in like a POW hospital or something. Like they don't care like how you feel on the inside, but they'll
No.
fix you. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. I get you.
They
I
don't
get
care
you.
about your emotions or like, oh, does this hurt? Does that? They'll just grab you and fix you.
I guess. I guess. Very Chinese.
Yeah,
Um,
but I got to charge my phone. Unfortunately, I got to drop out.
that's all right. Oh, sorry.
But
It's
hopefully,
Claire's
you
turn.
guys
It's
do
up to
more
her.
of these. I want to start like streaming again more with Claire and whatnot, and you guys.
Sure. And by the way, you're
Always good
welcome
times.
to contact me via my channel or do you want my channel name or link or something so you can go
Yeah,
check that one
please.
out?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try and grab it for you before your phone dies. All right.
I'll pass it on. I'll pass it
You
on.
pass
Yeah,
it on.
Claire will send it.
Okay.
Appreciate
Yeah,
My
that.
a lot of my channel is music, and a lot of it is also based on shorts, at least for the time being. You might like the most recent
What do
short,
you play,
actually.
or what do you do?
I play piano a lot. I also can sing. I'm working on both of them.
Nice, nice. I'm a guitarist. I'm not what I once was, but I've played for like 20 years. So
Yeah, no, I
yeah, I'll
played some
check it
guitar
out.
as well. I like guitar a lot. Yeah, no, thank you so much, man. It's been great to have you.
Yeah, likewise. Appreciate it. Take care, guys.
thank you for coming.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Take care. Get well.
Yeah, get well. How you doing, Claire?
I'm still eating my lunch, but less hungry now.
Good. Did you enjoy our conversation? Overhearing it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes you just want to step away and not be, kind of listening. So it was nice that you two were getting on and
Yeah.
yeah, and talking about important things.
Yeah,
And
they were worthwhile topics, even if they weren't being like we talked. I think we actually handled each other rather gently there, which is probably the right thing to do, especially if it's recovering from a massive illness.
mm,
Yeah,
yes, I thought he did sound a bit weak.
yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, yeah, I sort of feel a bit guilty now. Like, hi, how are you? It's like, no, you're here. I'm off. So
Ah,
anyway, it's sorted.
it's fine. I wouldn't worry
Mm,
about it.
mhm.
Should we engage with chat a bit, Claire? How does that sound? Also, we probably need to wrap up soon-ish. But what do you think?
Go ahead. You address all the comments in the chat.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. Music is haram. No. What does this have to do with imposing Sharia on the world? Not a lot. Don't eat the bat stew at Hogwarts. That's all I'm saying, lol. I mean, sure, that sounds like fine advice. So the Chinese don't have much of a bedside manner, misspelled. Yeah, yeah. I would tend to think that's the case. Call me racist. Uh, I had salmonella once from undercooked chicken, but it wasn't that bad. I just sat on the toilet for a day. Yep, that's one way. That's a good way to handle it. What do we got here? Count Saint Germain plus Count Cagliostro equals Count Dracula Vlad Impaler, not Count Monte Cristo. Ha ha ha. I don't get it. You seem to think it's funny. In Godfather 3, the old Jew said he would give $1 million to just take a solid shit. I don't remember Godfather 3 very well. I remember the Jew from Godfather 2, though. He was an interesting character. God tried to kill him with eggs. It is kind of funny that we eat the menstrual discharge of chickens. I see what you mean. Moral of the story: John Dee and Francis Bacon were Elizabethan spooks. Lol. So the John Dee I'm familiar with is actually the one who used to show up on academic agent streams. Do you know what I'm talking about, Claire? The
Yes,
gay
I
one.
do. Yes, I do.
Oh yeah, we talked about him very briefly, I think, in another stream. So yeah, John D guy was very interesting, very disagreeable, very powerfully gay, bit anti-woman, and also just he would bring up art. He would bring up art, and he would really give a damn about it. And yeah, he rejected me from entering a Twitter space once. Not a grudge that I hold, but like I had some sort of secret reputation on the dissident, right? Or something like that. No, he was objecting to my tweets. He was like, "What the fuck you doing?"
He
I was
didn't like me
challenging.
either.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He's actually
Oh,
American, I hear.
oh, he's moved to America or something like that, right?
Mhm.
He very much gives the impression of being upper class British or something like that. Anyway,
Yes.
something funny I might also say about John D was he loved being disagreeable, but boy, could he not take it. Hello, sir. Who are you?
Hey, I'm Mike. Yeah, you're right. It was Godfather 2. It was when they were in Cuba.
Yep. The Cuban guy, the Cuban Jew guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing further to add about that because I could get in trouble with my government.
Oh, okay. Are you in Cuba?
No, I'm in Australia.
Australia. You're down under, mate, eh?
Yeah.
So do you ever go to Bali?
No, I have not been, but I know it's a big thing for people to do around here.
Right. When you graduate college or high school or something, you guys go up and get drunk in Bali.
You know my style. So, have you come across much of what I've said? Any of the streams? Or are you coming in fresh?
No, I'm just coming in fresh.
Cool, my kind of guy. So, I have never been drunk in my life.
Oh, okay.
I'm very different than a lot of Australians in that regard.
Yeah, I thought you guys were hard drinking blokes.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think it's holding us back.
Okay. Well, how do you know you don't like it if you've never done it?
I've tasted alcohol, and that was enough for me. I've never been drunk.
Yeah, it's
My parents said it was appropriate that I know the taste, and I actually know what they mean by that. But yeah, totally rejected from a young age, along with drugs in general.
Okay.
Mike is often drunk
That's true.
Sorry.
I'm a big
while
drinker.
streaming. Just to let you know.
Yeah, there's
That's
a
all
great.
right.
If you ever go to Jordan M's channel, he's a
Yeah.
British Muslim white guy,
Okay.
and I was like, really drunk, and I like passed out while on, and then I woke back up, and I'm like, we're still on. He's like, oh my, it was quite hilarious. And then
If there's something to like about alcohol, it's the stories that come out of it.
yeah, great story.
Yeah.
So yeah, then
So are you still
he's like,
allowed on Jordan M's streams? Does he let you on?
no, I was only on 2 or 3. He doesn't seem to be doing open forums anymore. He just does his chin wag or whatever he calls it, and lectures from his car on his way to the gym. But so I'm sorry, what's your name, buddy?
Me.
Yeah,
Or-
Josh.
Josh. Sonata is sort of my online handle at the moment. I've had ones before. Other ones.
So
I used to be known.
You said your channel's about music mostly and stuff.
For now, I have big plans. Big plans to cover lots and lots of sort of different things.
What are the big plans?
Well, they're already unfolding. So I've made a couple videos relating to the TLC. You know the TLC, I presume.
No, I do not. What does that stand for?
This little corner. A sort of quasi-religious, spiritual, big on discussion, sort of part of the internet. It's very centered on a man named Paul Vanderklay, a Discord server called Bridges of Meaning, and a few other people. It's an interesting scene, but I have come into conflict with a lot of those people because of the way that I talk. Put it that way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm an old man. I'm not that big on social media. I just got on YouTube, I don't know what, 2023.
Yeah.
And somehow I got on a couple Muslim channels, and so then the algorithm's feeding me all sorts of Muslim channels. So I'm known as an Islamophobe.
He trolls them.
I like to troll the Muslims. You know, I took the time to read the damn Quran. What an arduous read that was.
Sorry, I just saw in the live chat something that bothered me. But no, that's interesting, mate. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
57.
So I'm 33. Very different ages. We would have grown up in different eras. So you're Islamic critical.
Absolutely.
Fair enough. Sorry, Claire, but fair enough. As to what you want to accomplish by being online and all of that, what is it?
Yeah, nothing big. It's entertaining.
Okay. I mean, it is fun. It is fun to be engaged in the discords, shall we say.
Yeah. Like I said, you know, I'm on Facebook, but I don't ever comment anymore. I got on there mostly just to try to sell some stuff.
Facebook is a bit of a blasted hellscape, I hear.
Yeah. And I guess that's old school. The kids don't do that. I won't do Instagram just because the Chinese are in charge. And,
yeah, I'm not. I went on Instagram very recently just for the purposes of being able to contact people who are on there. Okay, but I have no interest in whatever the hell it is. I don't even know what it is, really.
Yeah. Discord, I was on a couple times. There's a Muslim guy called Munji. He's an Iranian who lives in Sweden.
Okay.
And his channel is like Perfect Dawa. He argues, you know what Dawa
have I come across him? I might have once. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So he went to the speaker's corner one time and argued with the EF Dawa guys and Dawa Wise guys and blah, blah, blah. But so on Saturday mornings, I just went back to work recently, but I was retired for a little while. So I had a lot of time to do nothing. And,
yeah, I'm in a similar situation.
He would let me on for like 2-3 hours and we, talk a little bit. He's not a hadith denier, but he's like, well, if they he's kind of like Claire. If it's not in the Quran, he doesn't, like he's against stoning of adulterers. He'll bring up, I forget the verse. It's in the 4th surah where it says like the slave would be half punished. Right. So he's like, well, how do you stone someone half to death?
Well, good question.
He thinks that kind of abrogates the whole stoning from the hadiths. But anyways, now I forget my point. See, drank too much vodka already today.
Whoops. So
Discord.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Discord.
So he has a South African guy on, Martin, who's a Christian, who's kind of like his sidekick, or at least was for a while. and he invited me to Discord after being on the YouTube thing. So
Mhm.
I managed to get on it like twice. I don't know.
I mean,
I
Discord
don't
is
even
so
like their
much better than
graphics.
Facebook. Sorry, it's going.
Discord, it reminds me of like X Hamster or something. It seems like it was made like in
Oh,
the
if
90s.
you join the wrong server, yeah, it will.
The green and the weird colors and the black background.
Oh, you mean that? Sorry, I was thinking of something else.
Oh, no.
Okay, so Discord. My position on Discord is it's like semi-public social media. It's invitation based. It's your own space. People will see posts. People will see a post and you'll never even know that they saw it, right? But it's sometimes better than just like texting people on your phone or whatever. It gives you a structure for your own semi-private social space, right? That's just my position on Discord. Claire, I have an idea. Would you like to hear it?
Claire went to sleep.
Claire went to sleep. She
was
posted
just
a link to
muted.
my channel.
Okay.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
You want the idea?
Yeah. I'm on Discord too. And yeah, and you've just given me the link to your channel. Great. Okay. I'll join your server.
So who gave what link?
Sorry. Did you say you were gonna give me the link to your Discord server? Was that what you were saying?
Me?
Okay. What were you saying?
Oh, I think you misunderstood. Sorry. Okay. We were just discussing Discord in general, to
Yes.
my knowledge, and
I'm
like
on
how it's
Discord too.
semi-public. Yeah, I mean, I'm on the Discord. But moving aside from that, I had an idea, Claire. Do you want to hear my idea? It's a
Please.
fun idea. So for this stream, if you would like to, sometimes you look at videos, don't you, on this stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to look at one of my videos?
Okay.
So I just posted a short. Do you think you can bring up a short without too much problem?
What, in the private chat?
Yeah. I'll send you a link right now. What was your name again? Sorry, new guy.
Mike.
Hi, Mike. Sorry, I'll try and remember.
No worries.
Mike, do you like this idea?
For
We don't know what
Claire
it
to
is.
review your video? Sure.
Yeah. Okay, this is a fun one. This is politics. So people want to know what my channel is about. And like I said, there's a lot of music there, and you can pick and choose whatever you're interested in. But this is, let's see here, get shareable link, copy to clipboard. There you go. Claire in private chat. Bam. Bring it up as you see fit. It's short, but I felt it went well. It hasn't picked up a lot of traction yet, but that's what I'm trying to get happen.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it, Claire. Thanks.
Okay, we'll see how it goes for the current audience.
Yeah. Some of the live chat, like people were asking about my channel in the live chat, so I figured we could take an extra step and show them something.
Mm-hmm.
Here we
I'm
go.
not quite sure if I. Oh yes, so the one is it on now? Yes,
So we
there
aren't getting
are.
any sound.
I need to.
Yep.
Yeah, I need to
The Australian
unmute
Security and
it.
Intelligence Organization. Well, perhaps it's not a public institution,
We got to stick to the
but we know
beginning
what it
again.
is, even if we don't know almost anything about what they really do.
Okay,
Hi,
here we go.
everyone. I am making this short to call out the immense legal danger, not the legal danger, the moral danger of giving public Australian institutions like the Australian Security and Intelligence Organization. Well, perhaps it's not a public institution, but we know what it is, even if we don't know almost anything about what they really do. I would like to express my disgust and my concern regarding recent legislation that enables government authorities the right to secretly interrogate people, force them to answer questions, prevent them from legally discussing that such an event ever took place, and perhaps lots of other things that are also disgusting and should be considered illegal, even though they are legislation, because we have such a thing as a constitution, but nobody reads it. Quite frankly, I feel targeted by these laws. I really do. And I would invite people who come across this short to express some dissatisfaction with a government that is completely out of control. Thank you for your time. Hi, everyone. I am making this short to call out the immense legal danger.
Are we done? Because that's yeah, great. Thank you, Claire. Thank you. What did we think?
I thought it was interesting that you mentioned the Australian Constitution. I've never read it.
I haven't either,
I'm
but
not an
it's been mentioned to me a lot.
Other than the Brits, you guys are a very close ally. Obviously,
True.
you guys don't have freedom of speech. You clearly don't
No.
have gun rights. What was the big shooting in the early 80s where you guys came in and confiscated all the guns?
Well, was it the 90s, early 90s, I think, because it was the John Howard prime minister, and he pushed all that legislation through.
Was it? I thought it wasn't.
Yeah,
It like
it was John
a
Howard
restaurant or something, or some resort.
No, you're thinking of the Port Arthur shootings, and they're an extremely suspicious event in our history. Widely considered a false flag.
Oh, okay. All right.
So yeah. So go.
Are you an Illuminati guy?
As in, I am a member, or I suspect that it exists.
You suspect that it exists.
I suspect it's something just like it exists. Let's say that.
Conspiracy theorist.
A little bit.
Yeah. It's funny. I was just at a bourbon tasting a couple Fridays ago, and my one buddy I hadn't seen in a while, I went to high school with, and somebody said something about all these conspiracy guys, and he's like, "I'm a conspiracy guy. It's all a conspiracy."
Catherine Austin Fitz has this great quote. Look, the only way you can get anything done is through conspiracy, right? And like, what are we saying when we're in denial of conspiracy? Like, there's criminal forms of conspiracy. There's military forms of conspiracy. There's so many types of conspiracy. There's office politics versions of conspiracy. Come the hell on with this conspiracy denial stuff. You know what I do these days? When I'm referring to the grand conspiracy, I just call it that. It's the conspiracy. I don't say Illuminati much. Well, sometimes I do. But the thing that I'm getting at is they've picked the term now with the whole conspiracy theorist slur thing. Sorry, you've got me going. Claire, what did you think?
About your short.
Oh, yeah, you actually have told me extensively what you think about that short. I forgot.
Well, I think conspiracy theorist means being a bore, and if you're talking to the ladies, try to avoid, putting that kick me sign on your back or your forehead.
All right, Claire. I actually know some lady conspiracy theorists, by the way, and I'll leave it at that. But sorry. Thanks for doing my idea. I really appreciated that. And maybe we should listen to some music instead.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually very sinister that you have Australians have been deprived of the wit of habeas corpus and prevented from complaining about it.
Yeah. I mean, that whole like, hey, you can't even talk about the fact you were interrogated by the security organizers. It's like, come on, what the hell?
Yeah.
God.
So can I ask, what do you think the end game of the conspiracy is?
Oh, interesting. Well, if we're talking about the conspiracy in terms of evil, which at some point I think it is worth talking about it. I mean, I used the word evil in the title of that short. So clearly I think there's an evil element at play. So with regards to the evil, I think that some people in very powerful and secretive positions have just let the insanity of evil just completely take over their minds and their souls. And they will allow it to make them do all sorts of destructive things. And they will pretend all sorts of justifications inside and out So even like a Freemason type or an Illuminati type or whoever you want to bring up, they do talk about like we're actually important. We're necessary. We're the sharks that eat the fish that need to die. Like that kind of thinking. Do you know what I mean, Mike?
Right. Well, I knew one guy, and he was big on the Illuminati. And I asked him the same question. He said, "Well, the goal is actually to get the population of the Earth down to like 200 million or something." I said, "Well,
Yeah.
clearly they're failing because we're up to 8 billion." He said, "Well, no, that's part of the plan
To create a massive collapse in the manner that they want."
Right. It's kind of like at one point, some of the Republicans were like, well, we can end the debt by creating so much debt that it collapses on itself, you know. But then people say like abortion's, evil. I'm an atheist, by the way, so I don't believe in good and evil in metaphysical senses, like that the devil's making people do things. But anyways, the white population of the world's population has been stagnant since 1980. Now,
Yeah, that's pretty statistically true.
I guess you could argue that the Illuminati are smart enough to overbreed the planet with third world people because they lack the resources to actually feed themselves. And then at some point it'll turn into, I think the water wars are coming at some point. I think we're going to run out of water.
Perhaps.
We got decel, but Saudi Arabia's killed a huge part of the Gulf there by, pumping the salt without diluting it right back in. And there's all sorts of problems. It's expensive too. We have a decel plant here in Tampa, and they couldn't get it working for years. We even brought in the Germans to try to figure it out. But anyway, do you think the Illuminati is trying to overpopulate the planet so that the population collapses on itself?
I think they're really clever people, as in whatever it is that we're referring to here, Illuminati or otherwise, right?
Right.
I think they're very clever people who think of their plans as multitudinous and flexible and adaptable and all of that. Does that make sense?
Right. So they kind of seek power.
Power. They seek to alter the course of events, right, in their favor, but more deeply to damage. That's what I'm getting at when I use the word evil. It's psychotic. It's evil. It's like at the end we would just rather burn as much down as possible, kill as much as we can, cause as much pain and misery, convince as many people to be like us, even if it's not even gonna work. They still want to take it as far as they can.
Did you ever watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I watched. I think I watched all of it actually. Yeah.
So Littlefinger would be like he would be the king of the ashes. Right?
Something like that. Chaos is a ladder. You remember the quote, right?
Right. Well, chaos.
And that was the giveaway. The giveaway to the sisters that killed him.
Yeah. And then the Lannister guy says, obviously, everybody knows that.
Yeah, the Lannisters weren't much better than Littlefinger overall.
No.
But
there was one quote where they said, "Oh, Littlefinger, as long as he gets on the throne, he doesn't matter how bad."
Well, does he even really want to be on the throne? He just wants to be maybe a better puppet master.
No, I think he wanted to be on the throne himself. He was
vanity, be on the throne. That's completely insane.
He counted all the swords in it, right?
But like Littlefinger had absolutely no basis for any kind of claim that anyone was going to give a fuck about. So that would have been insane. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But that was part of what drove him. He had no name. Yeah.
Had no name.
And then the eunuch guy turned out to be one good guy.
Yeah, that's another interesting thing that happened. A master of spies, man of shadows, all of that.
Right.
And he actually died for his values, sort of. Yeah. Look, the truth is that like the ending of Game of Thrones was crazy. The ending of Game of Thrones was pretty botched, right? Do we agree on that?
Yes, it was terrible. You want to hear my ending I would have written?
Go.
Okay. So I would have had Jon, Cersei, and who's the third Stark?
The third Stark. What we're talking about Sansa?
The girl who killed the Night King.
Oh, Arya.
Arya. So I would have had Jon challenge Daenerys to a trial by combat, and she would choose her dragon as her champion, but she'd let all three Starks fight the dragon.
Ooh, that's fun.
And then Jon would come out at some point and he'd get hit by the dragon fire, but it wouldn't hurt him because he's actually a
Targaryen.
Targaryen, right? And then I would have Sansa actually kill the dragon because Arya had already killed the Night King.
Yeah. Well, also Sansa hasn't killed anyone with her own hands, but boy, would she maybe want to. Sorry, what?
Right. That would make her kind of a little more combatant. Like, and they would have a shield of what was the metal?
Oh,
that they
Valyrian steel, the
dragon.
special stuff or something.
Valyrian steel, yeah. So like the dragon at one point would go at them, but they'd be behind a shield and not get burned.
See, you're thinking of the action scene. I'm much more thinking about the fact that the character endings were just crap.
Oh, yeah. Well, the action scenes, the whole smoke thing in the one when they're fighting the White Walkers.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell which dragon was doing what.
No, that battle was awful. That battle was awful.
Yeah, it was terrible. Other than the little girl killing the giant, the whole thing, and Arya killing the Night King.
I don't think it's controversial to say why in the fucking hell is Jon Snow not the king at the end.
Right.
Like, I get it. They're trying to subvert expectations. Everything has been leading up to this, and you exile them into the wall again? Fuck off.
The only thing that made any sense was that he stabbed her in the belly.
Oh, you mean Jon killing Daenerys in the front?
Right, as opposed
a backstab
to
kind of move.
The Kingslayer.
Yeah.
Right. That was the only like poetic justice type thing.
But even that was
because Jamie said, "Would it be better if I stabbed him from the front when he was the Mad King? He was going to burn the whole King's Landing."
But like, also the circumstances leading up to Daenerys going completely batshit insane and just burning down the city and all that, it just didn't feel real at all. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
I mean, again, that was the only thing Varys said. You know. When a Targaryen is born, the gods flip a coin.
Ugh.
Yeah. So at some point, she had to do that to make Varys the good guy.
I'm actually with George R.R. Martin. They should have just taken more time with everything. Had more of the real story. But George R.R. Martin needs to finish the goddamn story. That's the problem. They had to finish it themselves, and they had no idea.
Yeah. The producers wrote the last couple.
Ugh, terrible. And Bran is king. Like, what the hell is that? Come on, guys.
Yeah, and like his arc just fell off. I thought that was kind of funny that they literally
no one knows who this guy is. You can't make him king.
Right, but like, what happened to the children of the forest? And I think in the books, I've never read the books, but
I attempted a few of them. Yeah, I got like 2.5, more or less.
But yeah, Brandon like just disappeared.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's like, "All right, I'm king. What do you think I'm here?"
And like, one of the things that do you know Moeller? Probably not. He's a sort of a movie reviewer, TV show reviewer, video game reviewer type guy. Okay. No. So his point was that a huge amount of the drama of Game of Thrones is fundamentally about the matter of succession. True?
Right.
So, like he was saying, for example, that stupid waste of time on like that guy saying, "Why don't we try democracy, guys?" Like, and they all laugh. It's like, look, everyone is so committed to the question of who is going to be king. You can't just swerve into that nonsense either. So like, there is no one, and I mean no one with a claim like Jon Snow. Okay, Targaryen. Even the Stark blood helps at this point. Well, it is Stark blood, yeah. Because the Starks are in the best position at the end, right? Of maybe any family, arguably. Anyway, right?
Yeah.
And so Stark, Targaryen.
The Baratheons are pretty much
are basically gone. The Lannisters have been utterly crushed. Daenerys only has like these random loyalist, unsullied types, right?
Mhm.
It's John.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
send him to the hole
Unsullied
and bring him
and
back, right? Just do that. But that's not right either. You need a triumphant moment of heroism, overcoming, blah, blah, blah. But the problem is, George R.R. wanted to write this as a story of like Aragorn's tax policy or something. Like, how do you govern even if you're really, really idealistic and all that crap? Like, Jon Snow was
right.
forged in fire and ice to be the king. Forget it. You want a heroic ending. It's that man.
That's why I think a battle of combat, at the end,
Sure.
because they considered that. Of course, that was banned at one point, but
Oh, yeah. No, I see what you mean.
I forget which.
And it is more honorable
trial
for
by
them to
combat.
do like challenge Daenerys. We need to fight this one out, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
Trial by combat, and then you win. It's like, see, the gods favor us.
There's something to that. Yeah,
That's another
yeah,
claim.
yeah. I see where you're going. Another big part of the problem with the show is like lots of. Are you familiar with Mass Effect? No.
You're talking about
vid-
like Hitler getting everybody to kill the Jews?
No, I'm talking about the video game series.
Oh,
Okay.
no. I don't. I've never played video games in my
That's
life.
all right. I'll just explain it extremely, extremely briefly. Mass Effect was a game about making lots and lots and lots of little choices about characters, politics, all this stuff, and it was all building towards something. You could even incorporate the save games from prior games to make sure all your choices were accounted for, right? The problem was they ended the trilogy with this big overriding decision that made so much of what you did leading up to this gigantic galactic changing moment feel irrelevant. And a lot of people were unsatisfied with that in a very similar way to Game of Thrones. Anyway, so what I'm trying to get across here is like, it felt like so many people died for nothing. It felt like so many people just vanished. It felt like so many threads were just dropped awkwardly. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot going on.
True.
I remember when I first started watching it. I think they were in season 3 or something. I started to binge it, and it was like I was telling friends about it. I'm like, listen, you gotta get about 6 episodes into it before you even can remember what all the house names are and who's doing what and what's going on. There's a lot
There
going
is.
on. Don't just give up after the first one because you don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Do you want to engage with chat a bit because they're talking about what we're talking about?
Yeah. Read the chat.
Okay, working backwards from the most recent one, he shouldn't have banged the barbarian girl. Au contraire, he should have married her. They had real chemistry. Daenerys and Jon Snow didn't really have good chemistry. I like the fact that Jon Snow went out into the forest with the wildlings, leaving the politics behind. But I hate the fact that his rightful claim was never even acknowledged at the end. Yeah. There's something to that. Team Syria, that was the dueling master. Yeah, okay. Jon Snow would have been cool if he grunted like Ragnar the Viking log. Was that when he was banging the barbarian girl, or when he was fighting? Sorry, that's a bad joke. Arya and
Well, he did marry that actress in real life, right?
What? Oh no, Mary. I thought you said Barry, and I'm like, what? No, yeah, no, they're a couple. That's why they had good chemistry on screen.
Right.
Yeah.
They were on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, were they?
And yeah, after that was the other thing. When they brought Jon Snow back to life, I didn't care for it much. That's one of the things I loved about Game of Thrones was that they were willing to kill main
that
characters.
was the massive misstep that George made. In the books, he kills Jon Snow, and he doesn't know what to do afterwards.
So on Saturday Night Live, he hosted it, and she was like in the audience thing. And when he was giving the opening spiel, it was right after that episode, and she's like, well, what are we going to do now? You've been killed off. I don't have work. You don't have work. You're ordering Uber Eats every night. Blah, blah, blah. King of the North. You kept going King of the North. Now you're dead.
Oh, boy. Like, there is this great paradox of, like, the most worthy are least likely to reach for it, the title of king. And the problem is that when they finally do reach for it, everyone goes, how dare you? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some sort of saying he who wants to serve is the least likely,
Yeah,
or who you want less to serve. Those.
of course.
Then again, there's all the guys like Washington apparently, claimed he didn't want power or anything like that, but during the Continental Congress, he would show up in his military uniform every day.
Well, I mean,
That-
no one power.
wasn't-
It's more complicated. He didn't want to be king, right? And he thought that the nation had a better future with the steps that he took. And I understand that.
Yes, Claire's big on Washington's farewell address.
I haven't
that?
read or seen that, I'm afraid.
It's pretty long. I've read some of it. Claire sent it
Okay.
to me.
I guess
He goes on.
sorry.
No,
Oh,
go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, I guess it was from an era where the speeches were listened to, and if you put in really good rhetoric and thinking and even a bit of inspiration, it would make a difference, right? Now we don't listen to our politicians at all.
Sure. There was not much else to do other than read speeches or the newspaper back
Yeah.
in the day.
Exactly.
Now we're easily distracted. We got
Yeah.
we got this YouTube thing going. We got all sorts
Yeah.
of social media.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Washington stepped down voluntarily after 2 terms, and that held until FDR.
Yep. So
As tradition.
So FDR, it's argued that he set up term limits so that no one could change the amount of stuff that he himself changed. Have you heard that?
Oh, I didn't know FDR is considered to be the guy who set up term limits. I assumed it was guys after that.
Well, maybe it's a complicated matter, but certainly FDR did a great deal to change the nation of the United States, right?
Sure, the
New Deal, great example, and other stuff besides. And even though he died, I think just before the war ended, right? The term limits, and I've heard this argument, and it's not maybe a precise argument because maybe the term limits didn't come from FDR, for all I know. But the effect of a 2-term limit is presidents can't amass the power and authority to drastically change the government anymore, ever since. We kind of see that with the Trump situation. Would you agree or disagree?
Well, the presidents have never had that much power. I know everybody, obviously it's the biggest office and stuff, but it's the Congress that gets real things done. Controls the budget and all that. In theory, right. I mean, the president always has the bully pulpit and can steer things and whatnot, especially if you control both houses, which is pretty rare in America.
Yeah, for sure.
We usually like to have a split government.
Yeah, for better and worse.
Whether that's consciously done or not, but somehow we always seem to, the House or the Senate is, not the president's party. And
part of the problem is
like people bitch about gridlock. I love gridlock. I want the government to do the least they can do.
A man after my own
last
heart.
thing I want is the government changing everything.
Sorry?
What
I said a man
say?
after my own heart.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, it's more complicated than that. So the small government, big government dilemma, I consider a false dilemma. I'm all about quality when it comes to government, right? The quality of the government is more important, and therefore a quality government leaves things alone when it's not their place and focuses entirely on what should be in their realm. You could say that's a trend towards smaller government, but I mean, a big part of the problem is just really the drastic overreach and the overcomplication, the endless competing bureaucracies, like all those intelligence agencies, like the NSA, the CIA, the whatever, and the whatever. It's like, how do you guys even keep track of who's in charge, who's supposed to make decisions? Like the bloat, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, well, that's like, after 9/11, I think they said we have, 17 intelligence agencies, and none of them communicated with each other. So then we created Homeland Security, which Bush was against at the beginning, and then he caved to it, So we created another huge bureaucracy. I actually have a nephew who works for the NSA. But So, yeah, all this data gathering and all this stuff, and they still don't seem to stop much.
Well, sometimes they encourage
It's
it.
not like Minority Report where they know where the crimes are coming from.
I guess I have taken the position publicly that all intelligence agencies should be abolished. And this is a worldwide position. Now, my argument here is they are black boxes immune to investigation, especially by the public. I get Senate oversight, blah, blah, blah. That just means there's only a few people you have to bribe or threaten or blackmail. So, they're intelligence agencies. They're great at bribing, threatening, and blackmail. Who are we kidding? So, what I mean by the abolishment of intelligence agencies is they're fundamentally about lying and deceiving their own people and other people. I don't want it. I don't want it in my society, my nation, or the world. That's my little soapbox.
Gotcha. So, did you ever watch Homeland?
Is that the one with the guy who comes back from the war and maybe he's converted or something?
Yeah, the redheaded guy from Band of
Yeah,
Brothers.
he's good. He's a good actor.
Also in Billions. Yeah, and Claire Danes. Is
I haven't seen it. I just know about it. It was like advertised on Australian television, but I never watched it. Tell me more, though.
Yeah, I think it was Showtime. But yeah, you should watch it. You'd
Maybe
like
I would.
It's maybe the third or fourth season where this woman gets elected president and the CIA tries to assassinate her, puts her back in her place. Let's say they're like, she was like going to cut up the intelligence agencies or something.
Yeah, sorry.
You can't do that.
Oh, it's rather late here. I actually should probably ask to leave or wrap up or something soonish. But yeah, I've actually enjoyed meeting you, Mike. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, no problem. It's only 11:22 a.m.
Yeah, so
here.
it's 1:23 a.m. here, so it's a late night by most people's standards. What do you feel like? What do you want to talk about to start closing things? Obviously, it's up to Claire when we really close.
Claire, is she still in the kitchen?
Perhaps.
Claire's barefoot and in the kitchen. That's where the women belong.
That's all right.
Right, Claire?
I think it's up to us to decide what we want to talk about. But
well, you go ahead. It's your show. I'm just a guest.
It's not my show.
These guests are hit or miss.
Look, I'm big into respecting the host, just like anyone should be, really. But I think.
Should we talk about Claire's idea?
Which one?
Secular Quranism.
Oh, sure. That's only fair. What do you make of it, Mike?
So I think it's utter nonsense. It's got no hope, no legs, and it shouldn't. I'm 100% against Quranism, against Islam, against Sharia, against the hudud, the different. I don't know if you know much about Islam. The punishments.
I'm learning more. Speaking to Claire.
So Claire seems to think there's this huge problem, and I've tried to ask her. I don't know. She seems to think the West is in this big decline.
I kind of agree with that.
We need, right? A lot of people do. We've always been in decline, though.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Somebody gave me a book, and it was written by a German.
Oswald Spengler, The Decline of the West.
It was America specific.
Which one? What was that?
I thought it was The Myth of the Decline of America.
Okay, that's something I haven't heard of.
And it opens with the history. Apparently, the Europeans, when we, first discovered the Western Hemisphere, they're like, oh, the deer are too small. There's just like, we don't have the right resource. I mean, it's a huge continent. We're full of wood and all sorts of stuff. But anyways, he went through bit by bit, like decade by decade of people going, America will never make it. They're doomed to fail, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, Jamestown failed. Several of the early colonies failed, but just that America, the old world looked down on us that we couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Would you believe I have a very similar experience as an Australian?
Right. Well, you guys are a penal colony.
That always comes up. That always comes up.
Right.
And the thing is, it's much more complicated than that by now.
Right. And the outback's like pretty
Yeah,
desolate, right?
you might say that, but one of the things about Australia is that we actually do have a massive amount of resources, including food and farmland.
Okay. You guys got gold, right?
Yeah, there was a big gold rush earlier on. We're not big on gold anymore. A lot of it
No,
was mined out. Simply,
coal.
coal is a much bigger deal these days, as well as the resources to create iron, steel as well. As well as a bunch of other mineral things, and we don't need to go into all the details. It is one of the most mineral rich places there is, though.
Well, you got opals,
Yeah, that's
right?
also true. That's
Have you ever seen Opal Hunters on
I've seen
Discovery?
a similar show, at least. Yeah.
Right. I guess there's something about you couldn't mine for opals in one area, but you can expand your house. So these guys all have underground houses,
Uh,
and they keep adding bedroom. And I guess opals are formed by lightning
I
strikes.
have no idea. Maybe.
Yeah, it's like a lightning strikes, through the mineral and solidifies it.
That's pretty cool. That's a pretty meta way of making a gem, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um.
But so how many states do you guys have? You got a federal government, right? And then
There's
do
some
you have
actually
state
some
government,
audit.
right? You got like Perth and
Okay,
Outback.
okay, I'm happy to explain. So, there's some oddities about Australian sort of states that mean that the number is actually debatable. So we have Western Australia, full-fledged state, I believe. Northern Territory, which is not technically a state, but might as well be. It's a portion of territory. There's its own governmental stuff to some degree. It doesn't matter. South Australia, which I think is a state. Yeah. There's Queensland. That's east north. So Western Australia is important for the mining and not a lot else. There's Perth. You're right. Northern Territory is pretty desolate. There's not a lot there. Bit of mining, bit of cattle stations. Southern Australia is a bit more like it. Adelaide is a reasonably significant city, and South Australia also, but is also not like that core to Australia. The real core is in the southeast, so that covers Melbourne, Sydney, and Canberra, as well as a whole bunch of other small and medium-sized towns, and yeah, all of that. Brisbane is almost a part of that, but not really. That's in Queensland. Okay, so Queensland is east and north. Then you have the Victoria, my state, and probably the biggest state, but it's a bit debatable. There's a very strong rivalry between Victoria and New South Wales as to who is more important and all of that. New South Wales is not technically the capital state, but it is the most populous and maybe the most prosperous. But I can't say that too strongly because Melbourne is considered almost the jewel of livability in Australia. It's one of the best places to live in the world, or at least it used to be considered so. It's really changed, especially with the COVID crap and all of that. We could go into that too. But there's this funny thing that they did to create a capital, not unlike the Washington, D.C. thing, where they created a microstate within the borders of New South Wales called the ACT, Australian Capital Territory, in which Canberra is a sort of artificial city designed out of nowhere. Not a lot of significance to industry or anything like that, but you got a ton of bureaucrats all in one spot. And finally, we have Tasmania, the little island at the bottom right, and that's about it. And so you can count, and you can also consider some of the complications. But I think ACT and Northern Territory are technically not states, and I think that's why it's weird. Anyway, moving on. What else did you want to know?
Well, you just mentioned Tasmania. Mm-hmm. What were the Black Wars?
The Black Wars?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of that? The Black Wars?
No.
Where you guys killed the Tasmanians?
Oh, okay. I wouldn't call that the Black Wars. We're talking about like the various conflicts between the settlers and colonists and the indigenous population.
Yeah.
We generally call them the Aborigines.
Right.
So, well, we didn't wipe them out. There were probably some nasty things that happened. I don't know the history terribly well myself because I'll be frank with you. I just didn't want to overinvest in white guilt stuff.
Right. I was wondering, do you have was it you or New Zealand where the Maori?
New Zealand is the Maori. Yeah. There are a lot
Yeah.
of islanders who are sort of similar to Maori here in Australia, but that's a whole other matter.
Gotcha. Is there a reparations movement in
Oh, hell yeah.
Australia by the Aborigines?
They even have a slogan they bring up all the time at any public event that they can get away with saying it. What was this? This is stolen land. It was never ceded.
Well,
Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. That's their position. My position, in response, is something that could get me into hot water if I say it publicly. But I might say it anyway because I don't give a fuck. I hate Australian. Let's call it authorities. I have no respect for them at this point.
right. Did you ever see the? Do you know who Laura Southern?
Lauren Southern,
is?
yeah, she had some weird interactions with Australia. Is she here still? She was here for a while.
I don't know. I haven't seen her online for a while. I guess she was with Rebel News. She got banned from the UK. She was in Luton, and she was handing out flyers. Is Allah gay or something like that? And the Muslims got all upset and they threatened to arrest her. But she was in Australia, I think around the same time, and she was just standing out in front of a mosque asking Muslims questions like, "Do you consider yourself Australian?" Blah 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 or whatever. And the cops came and literally told her she can't do that.
Yeah, you'll find that a lot here. The minorities are extremely protected. And there are new stages of it. That's what I was. So connected to the video that I played earlier, with I was bringing up like the weird, bizarre interrogation stuff from the Australian Security and Intelligence Organization and so on. But that actually ties into an incident at Bondi Beach. It made the news internationally, where a whole bunch of Jewish people at a Chabad Lubavitch gathering, I understand, were killed by some crazy Muslim guys, like a father and son team.
Right. Yeah.
That's my reading of it. You could go into details. Anyone is welcome to add more details. I didn't study it in great depth, because what I was worried about was the aftermath. The laws that would be passed as a result of this. Our government is huge, and I mean huge, on reacting to any and every incident with law. You probably have a similar problem in the United States.
Well, actually, it's actually kind of ironic. We don't. We have the exact opposite reaction. I mean, we must lead the world in mass shootings.
Sure.
And every time one happens, the Democrats say we need new gun laws, and the Republicans say, "Well, we need to more."
So they already got rid of our guns. That's for sure. So this is laws about guns.
Right. And you mentioned that earlier, but America from Sandy Hook, but from Columbine. I mean, you can even go back. What was it, 61? Somebody says, "Shouldn't you be in a bell tower?"
The bell tower thing. That's
University
right.
University of Texas. The guy was up in the bell tower, shot, I don't know, killed 11 people or something, just popping them off. And of course, at that time, nobody knew what the hell was going on. Like the response took hours. And I mean, we had that school in Texas where the cops didn't go in when they had an active shooter. And I forget how many kids were killed.
Yep.
But we still haven't pulled back guns.
Yeah.
I mean,
no.
I think the only thing that happened was after the Vegas shooting.
Oh, the Vegas shooting is nuts. That could have been something completely different than what we were told it was. What do you think?
He shot like 69 people or something.
Like 50 or more, easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did he manage it? That was like as one guy.
I'm always amazed that these guys don't kill more people, when they kill 3 or 4. But this guy, bump stocks got banned for a while. I'd never heard of him before. I'm not a gun nut.
Did you hear all the witness testimony about that whole thing in Vegas that was saying this is like multiple shooters? This is something else completely. It's not about this Stephen Paddock guy. Did you ever hear about any of that?
No, I remember them talking about this guy taking all these guns up, that people noticed how many bags he was taking up to his room and stuff, but nobody did anything. And I guess there was a security guard that got there pretty early, but didn't try to break in the door or anything. So you think there was multiple shooters?
I don't know, but I certainly
that guy like wrote a letter to his Filipino
like I
wife or
mean, can you
something.
see what I mean? That's pretty weird. Like the story there.
Right.
Sure.
Well, it's pretty weird to just want to shoot a
Yeah,
bunch of people
that's
for no
true as
reason.
well. So what they're actually considered doing in response to the Bondi incident is they're doing a royal commission into anti-Semitism, and you better believe they want to target white people with this stuff. They're not talking about Muslim; they're talking about social cohesion. Of course, we can't go over after the Muslims if they kill the Jews and all this stuff. No, what they're talking about is like there are like secret recommendations of how the law should be changed to protect Jewish people in like unbelievably aggressive fashion. Okay. I don't know where you stand on the matter of pro-Jew, pro-Israel, pro-anti-Semitism, negative on anti-Semitism. But what I can tell you is that this is just another massive distortion of fairness as a response to an incident. And I'm very concerned about it.
Well, overreaction to these incidents. I think we overreacted to 9/11,
I'd
great
agree.
Homeland Security and all this other stuff. I mean, it was a huge event.
Sure it was,
Don't
yeah.
get me wrong. I'm not minimizing it,
Yeah.
but you just don't go ape shit crazy in the heat of the moment and create all these new laws and
Yeah.
stuff. But it's funny because years ago, I started looking into the Islam, not after 9/11, not after 7/7, 3/11, but do you know who Pamela Geller is?
The name rings a bell, but I got no idea.
So it was like 2012. So the Muslims were buying, they wanted to buy a building that was pretty close to the World Trade Centers, close to Ground Zero, and turn it into a big mosque.
That's quite the thing to do.
And they were going to call it the Cordoba House, which after Spain, whatever. And so Geller and Spencer came out and said, "Oh, they're building a victory mosque, right? It's like a block from Ground Zero. This is a victory mosque." And so there's this huge debate going on. So of course, both sides are blaming each other and they're exaggerating, blah, blah. So I said, well, you know what? I need to look into this a little bit. So anyways, I read the Quran and Spencer's big on taqiyya or whatever, which is the Muslims are allowed to lie.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, personally.
Yeah. Well, and I looked into it's mostly a Shia thing where they lie to the Sunnis.
Yeah.
So the Sunnis don't kill them.
Okay, then.
Right? You're allowed to lie.
Because the Shia are the minority faction, as I understand it. The Sunni faction is larger.
Yeah, Shia are the minority. The Iranians and Iraqis, and they're spread out a little bit, but mostly Iran and northern Iraq. Or whatever.
Yeah.
But so anyways, I found it ironic that talking about the Jewish guys, they claim anti-Semitism anytime you say anything. Obviously now, if you criticize Israel, oh, you're an anti-Semite. The Muslims took that page 1 out of the Jews playbook and started calling Islamophobia.
I see.
If you say anything about Islam, they're like, oh, you're an Islamophobic. You're Islamophobic.
Yeah.
It's like, well, hang on. Aren't we allowed to criticize each other? Aren't we allowed to debate? Aren't we allowed
there's no term that creates a strong legal how do I put this? We all feel that it will be coming, but if you say something like that's anti-white, do you get crickets? Or do you get crickets?
Yeah, no, you can say anything you want about whites.
Yeah.
There was a new Black Panther Party guy on the radio in Orlando, and he literally said, we need to start throwing bombs into these white nurseries.
Yeah.
Killing
I'm
white
sorry,
babies.
that sounds like a black activist to me.
Yeah, and nobody did anything about it. Some of the right-wing guys were like, hey, isn't this inciting violence? Right? This isn't protected free speech.
Indeed.
And nothing came of it. If you said, hey, we got to start killing Jewish babies,
I'm sure there would be quite the outcry.
The hammer would drop. Yeah, or we got to start killing Muslim
and rightfully
babies,
so. We should not be going around killing babies in nurseries with bombs.
Right. Yeah, you can't
as
incite
a political move. Let's get very clear on that. But I mean, I'm personally concerned, Mike, because I'm exactly the kind of person, like I said it in the video, right? I'm the kind of person, this kind of law about secret interrogations on behalf of like fighting extremism, whatever the pretext is, it's meant to target.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Guantanamo. I mean, I'm a Republican. I'm not a left wing nut. I'm not
Yeah, I
you know,
sense that.
huge liberal, but
I mean, the liberals
I
were
think
right to
Guantanamo was
complain
a
about
terrible
Guantanamo.
mistake. This idea of we're setting up a black site
Yeah.
off. You know, they don't get habeas corpus because they're not in America. You know, oh, they're enemy
Oh,
combatants.
fucking
Well,
legal
we've always had enemy
bullshit to try to
combatants.
avoid the truth.
Even the Nazis were given habeas corpus. I
I
think.
mean, I
You know,
guess.
I mean, we had the trials, Nuremberg
Yeah, I've heard them.
trials. You know,
Um, I
those were, I mean, broadcast. I
That's
think,
right.
or at least
That's right.
recorded. You can still see videos of them. You know,
I don't think they broadcast everything they did at Nuremberg.
right?
Again,
Maybe.
like I don't know what's true here because it's a matter of massive contention. The real story of World War II, including the other side, shall we say. And there are claims
No?
that a lot of the Nazis were tortured into the confessions and the like that they were made to give. That is
Okay.
obviously a matter of contention. And I don't know where to come down hard. But I have said, and I will say it again, I believe in fairness and the truth, even for Nazis.
Absolutely. Fairness and truth should be applied to all
I
people.
believe that, yes.
But are you a Holocaust denier?
There's a more complex position than that.
Okay.
I'm a...
Yeah, I don't mean to get you in trouble. I know that's might be
it is illegal in Australia.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. Like, you know, what's illegal in Europe and Australia, and again, in talking to people, like one Muslim one time said to me, like, "Well, you can't burn the American flag," and I'm like, "What are you talking about? Of course you can. That's codified law." Johnson versus Texas, I think 1989. I don't know if you've ever read like the Skokie ruling.
No, I'm familiar with flag burning being a controversy in like the 60s or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, people used to do it more. I guess it happens now.
You won't get much Australian flag burning over here, partly because it's not like as big of a thing here. Right? But one interesting thing that has been happening lately is there's a lot more Australian flags being flown visibly, including a very edgy version of the Australian flag that's red. Okay.
So you guys have what? You got the Union Jack up in the left corner, and then like some stars. It's not the Big Dipper.
No, it's the Southern Cross,
the Northern Star, the Southern Cross.
That's the one. So, what should I explain here? So, my reading of all the flags being flown is very much not pro-government, quite the opposite. And the flags are being flown because a nationalist movement is growing here. I'm concerned about it as well as interested in it. Okay. One thing worth saying about it is that it has not reached maturity, but it is quite interesting to me as someone who believes in the potential of this country that people are waking up. And I don't think they're all the way there yet. And they're probably not ready to hear what I have to say about the potential of this country because it's way more strident and hopeful than Australians think they deserve. So I mentioned earlier something like there's a sort of kinship between the United States and Australia, both descendants of Britain in a way and of Europe more generally. We've followed very different paths, but there is a truth that there's a series of truths I'd like to point out. Australia is quite a large nation, at least geographically. Population-wise, not so much, of course. But I would say it has a high-quality population, and at least it did. The people here are pretty capable. And as we talked about before, the mining, the resources, the farmland, that we have all of that. We have all of that in spades. Um, we have good-ish infrastructure. It's decaying a bit. It might not be as bad as American infrastructure, actually, in a quality sense, not in a size sense, scale sense. But Australia has all the ingredients to become a great nation, not a middle power, not Canada, a great nation. And the Americans laugh, and the Americans are smug. No offense to you, sir. I get it all the time. What the hell are you talking about, Josh? We rule the world, even though we're in decline, and most of them can admit that. Australia, what the hell are you talking about? Now, remember the European attitude to America, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm trying to get at is, why not us? Now, I don't want to follow in the footsteps of the Americans or the British and create like a global empire or anything like that. But I think we'll have something to say that no one expected that we had to say to the world.
Well, what is your population? You
About 30 million.
60 million, 50 million, 30 million. Okay, so you're even smaller than Canada. Canada's what, 40, 50
That's right.
million? And I mean, Canada has a lot of resources, certainly a lot of wood. Yeah. We're constantly in disputes with them over soft lumber and all these other things. But, you know, like Canada, not to be like the military is everything, but I think their military is like 50,000 people, 55 or something crazy. You know, we've got a 2 million standing army.
The Chinese army.
It's nice that they have us as the neighbor. They don't have to defend against. I mean, South America, some of them don't even have standing armies.
So are you kind of asking me like what the hell am I talking about? With a population of 30 million.
Well, I mean, last I can remember with Australia was some sort of submarine deal we did with you guys.
I remember that too.
We pulled away from the French or something. The French got all pissed off and But yeah, I mean, you don't have a space industry, right?
No, that's true.
Do you build planes?
I think there are ships. And this is one of our critical weaknesses. We don't have the large-scale industry and manufacturing that we really should have. Now, I'm afraid that is partly the Americans' fault, as well as other factors. Our own politicians make some bad decisions. Sorry?
Because we build everything for you?
That's another bit of American snark. I hear you. No, we have a history of manufacturing, but those industries kind of died off. Poor economic management is one explanation. The thing that I'm getting at is that big old America with your giant military and all your money and all your great propositional nation based on the Constitution, all of that. Okay, I get it, but there's some things you don't have.
Go ahead and name them. What don't we have?
Your reputation is in the gutter right now on the world stage.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Also, your political class. I first to say our political class is fucked. But your political class, your billionaires, your leadership, your population, your vision for the country, all your conflicts, internal and external, it's all too much for you. It's so complicated and intense that you really are in terminal decline. I'm sorry. That's my judgment on the situation.
Okay. You're welcome to your opinion.
I understand.
Here's my view. I think like you and Claire and people from the outside looking in, the problem is you see what the media reports, right? You see what they want you to see.
Yes.
You see California. You see New York.
Well, I do deeper investigations than just the mainstream media. Trust me on that. But please go on.
Okay. So, like, whether you like the fags or not, or care for them or whatnot, you think we're all homos now?
No, I don't.
All trannies.
I think there are two very significant factions, absolutely poised for civil war.
Okay. Yeah. So, but what you get is all those little
Mm.
extremes. Like I said, out of California, out of Seattle, out of San Francisco, out of New York, and the the heartland of America is still there.
Sure.
It's still.
My
Although
father is from the
I
Midwest,
was just
actually. He's from
looking-
Minnesota.
oh,
So I know what
Minnesota.
reasonable
Very
America
little.
looks like.
My
I
parents
do.
are from Wisconsin.
Sorry?
Right. My parents are from Wisconsin.
Oh, okay. Not entirely dissimilar, would you say? Yeah.
Right next to each
Yeah,
other.
that's right.
Almost the same.
Yeah, okay, cool. So
But you're still innovating. We're still producing. We don't make as many cars as we used to because we let the Japanese come in the
Yeah.
70s because we were arrogant about our cars. GM, they had 65% of the market share, and now they're probably down to 20 or
Yeah.
less. I mean, it's amazing. You drive around, and sometimes I'll just look at cars coming at me, and you won't see an American car for 100
Yeah,
cars.
yeah.
Trucks, we still dominate in trucks, but
well,
we're still putting stuff into space. We got SpaceX. I lived on the Space Coast for a few years. You'd see rockets going up constantly.
that would be cool to
Like
see,
you
yeah.
said, we still have a pretty big military.
I know.
What do we got? 11 aircraft carriers. I mean, one aircraft carrier group can probably take on most
Do you
countries.
still want me to keep making my case for Australia?
But yeah, so you want to be you're not going to get it into the Security Council anytime soon, right?
No, not a permanent member, no. And I don't think that's our route.
No.
I don't think that's our route.
Yeah, okay. If they expand it, they're going to put in Brazil,
Something
India,
like that, yeah.
South Africa. You got thrown in African and South American, and India's got over 1 billion people, so they would get in there. Which I'm all for expanding it because it would just create more gridlock. The more people you get voting on anything,
Sure.
Us, the Russians, the Chinese, we're always vetoing each other. I mean, the UN's useless, but people like to think it's some sort of power.
I'm not a big fan of the UN, and I'm not very interested in them, honestly.
Yeah, it should be disbanded. I think we still pay like 20% of its budget,
something
or
like that.
somehow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So one of the things I'll point out about the game theoretical strategic situation of Australia as compared to America is that nobody thinks that we're even worth a first strike or anything like that. I mean, come on, who would bother? Right? I mean, in a world war or something like that, Russia gets first strike, America, obviously, China, probably, maybe a couple other places in Europe. Who knows, right? That's what I'm thinking, right? Nukes or whatever you want to mention. Yeah. Who would bother with Australia unless it's just the most ridiculous, out of proportion, kill everything? And I don't think anyone's going to do that. Do you? Oh, you've frozen.
No, I mean, never thought about, okay, so first strike, you guys are down off the globe.
Yeah. So you're freezing a little bit occasionally, but I just want to wait for that to clear up. Is that my problem? Hang on. Let me check something here. Okay, that's fine. Mike, you there? I'm gonna check the stream. Shit. Claire, are you there? I'm gonna check something, guys. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm getting the feeling we're dead in the water, guys. So unless I hear anything from Claire or Mike, I might call it a day. But thank you all for showing up. Thank you, rewatch people. Thank you, live viewers. And with any luck, I'll see you all again. Thank you and goodbye.
there?
Hi. Oh, he's gone. Hello.
What are you up to, Claire? How's the kitchen going? You baking?
Hello. I'm
You
still in
making a
the
cake?
kitchen. I haven't finished what I was doing, so I have to. Um, do you feel like a monologue while I finish things in the kitchen? It's a shame I didn't manage to, get back into the study. And I knew it would clear up, but anyway, I think. Oh, you're frozen again, Mike. Which gives me the opportunity to say the stream is at an end. Um, we've been going for nearly 4 hours, so I think I've given everybody a run for their money. And I do have more things to do. So thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Collective Dismal. Thank you, Teo. Thank you. And of course, thank you, Josh, for being star of the show. Oh, okay. He wants to come back. Do you want to come back or not? To finish what you were saying, because you were, it was quite fun listening to you guys square up in the kitchen against each other. But Josh may be tired and he may not. Anyway, he's not coming back. It doesn't look like. So I guess I'll end the stream. Thank you all for coming.